and it's going to deliver you results. So today is going to be small but mighty, okay? UHPW has our signature 8-week program starting soon. So what we've done is kind of pluck out some of the exciting pieces of it, if you will, some of the teasers, the taste buds, and we've packaged it into a really incredible 3-hour session that's going to help you make some type of transformation. We'll talk about that in a second. It's whatever transformation makes sense to you. Before we really dive in, I want to introduce you to UHPW and the teaching, and also myself. Unleash Her Power Within is their dedication in this world is to help people just like you transform from who you've been in your life to who you really, really desire to be. And anytime you relate to something I say, I just want you to put relate in the chat box, okay? Hopefully you got a pen and paper out. But we're here to help you make this transition from who you've been to who you really want to be. And the bone that we have to pick, or even I have to pick with the self-development industry in general, is, and I bet if you raised a hand, whether you're in Zoom or streaming, I bet almost 100% of us would have our hand raised. If you've ever read a book, gone to a seminar, learned something, heard a speaker, and in your mind you were like, this stuff's amazing. I'm going to change my life. And then a day goes by, a week goes by, a month goes by, and you're like, dang it, I did it again. It didn't what? Work. And the information gets stuck in here and we don't integrate it into our bodies. We're here to help you integrate so that this shift becomes stinking real for you. Can you tell I'm fired up? I love this stuff. I'm excited. And my name is Carissa Kuchis. You can call me KK if you'd like to. I'm one of the facilitators at UHPW, so today I'll be guiding you through this content. I'm just your tour guide. This is your event. You are doing this event, and you will get the most out of this experience to the level that you desire to. So I'm going to walk you through step by step, and we're going to have a good old time. So let's dive into it. Are you guys ready? Oh, come on. Are you ready, I said? Are you ready to experience more love and passion and zest and spunk in your life and have a reset for whatever that means for you? Are you ready? All right. Something that's really important that I ask you is that we are all over the world. You know, we are strangers coming in here, but can we be a team together today? Yes or yes? Oh, goodness. Come on. I mean, I need you to shout it. Lean into the camera, for God's sakes. Turn your camera on. Yes or yes? Okay, I want you to lean in. Are we 100% committed to it, yeah? I want you to lean into the camera, get as close as you possibly can. Shake the body out really quick. Shake the body out. Come on. Come on, shake it off, shake it off. I want you to lean in and I want you to say, I'm committed, are you, baby? Scream it out. Come on. Oh, you guys are so good. Some of you are like, this is nuts. Some of you, actually a little over 70% of you are brand new to this world, which is crazy. Some of you may have never attended a Tony Robbins event ever. Maybe you've never even heard of Tony Robbins. If you're new, just put new inside the chat box. And I want to immediately welcome you to the family. You belong here. You're welcomed here. We love you, and we're excited for whatever transformation means for you. Let's get into the day. We've got not much time. Rules of the game. If you're going to be here and invest 3 hours of your time, and if I'm going to be here and invest 3 hours of my time, we better all be getting some really killer results. I've been with Tony for about 4 years, supporting him with his transformations of human beings around the world, and I know that there are a couple things that if you do just these 4-ish things, you're going to have such a mind-blowing experience today that you'll never forget it. Do you want to know what the 4 things are, yes or yes? Number 1. Commit to playing full out, okay? Know that the teachings that you will receive today will sink into you to the extent that you are fully present. So that also means the extent that you give your full potential, okay? So I don't want you to kind of halfway do this today. If you're here, be all the way here. Close the other tabs out on your browser, lock the door, hide in the bathroom, mamas, if you need to. I don't know what you got to do to be fully here for the next 3 hours, but make it happen and commit to giving your all. Are you into giving everything that you've got? Yes or yes? Okay. Number 2, release the I know mind. Today we're going to take you through some foundational pieces, okay, the teachings of Tony Robbins that have transformed humans' lives for the last several decades. If you've heard one of these things before, try to catch yourself from saying, oh, I know that, oh, I've heard that. Is there a difference between knowing something and doing something? Yes or yes? Yeah, in my own life as well. There's a lot of things that I know that I sure as heck don't do. So today, we want to open up the door for you to be able to learn it in a way that you can actually integrate it. So have a beginner's mind, okay? Start like a fresh start, like you're the first time you ever heard it. Number 3, be fully here. I want to acknowledge, I know some of you are in the middle of maybe a heavy season of your life. I know this is a heavy season for the world, and I can guarantee every single human heartbeat and soul that's in this room right now has something going on in their life that might be tugging at them, might be pulling in their headspace. And part of you is thinking, can I really be here designing my dream life if I have this going on, right? This has been a really hard season. Can I really be here designing the next level of my life? I want everyone to take your hands up like this. Wave at me. And I'm going to teach you a practice that changed my life. Hold both hands out in front of you. Take a big deep breath in. Big deep breath out. And know that you can hold both. You can do both things. You can be having a really, really hard season of life and be dedicating the time to creating what it is that you want. You get to do both. So I'm going to ask you today, take all the things that are living in your mental space and start to throw them in an imaginary box. The thing with your kid and the thing with your work and that person said that thing and that thing that you can't let go after 10 years, and that relationship that you stayed in way too long. Just stack it all up. Some of you are like, my box is so heavy, okay? Pick it all up, put it all in that box. Pick up the box. Set it to the side for the next 3 hours. You can grab that crap later, okay? Are you with me? Can you be fully here? You can always revisit that, but give yourself the opportunity to be the creator of your life. This is about you grabbing the paintbrush and being the artist here today, okay? And then finally, the 4th tip for you is energy. Now, I don't mean energy like rah-rah, peeing glitter. I mean you've got to give what full energy means for you. There's a couple ways that you can start this. And I don't say that just because I want this to be an energetic group. I say this because I want you to retain more information today. If you've ever been to a Tony event on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, put a number in that reflects the level of energy inside that room. And that's not because he wants you to be jumping up and down and screaming. He wants you to embed the information, not just in your mind, but in your body, so it becomes a part of who you are. Now, I'm not going to have you jumping around and screaming in your rooms today. But what I am going to ask you to do is drop this sickness that's been sweeping the nation, okay? I call it LAE. Put that in the chat box. LAE. What is that called? What does that stand for? It stands for, come in close. I have to whisper it in case you got kiddos in the room. Plug their ears. Low ass energy, okay? LAE is sweeping the nation. How many of you know somebody with low energy? By a show of hands, even if it's you. Energy is a habit. Now, your brain is listening to your body. So if you're here today at the Life Design Masterclass being grounded in the teachings of the legendary Tony Robbins, the #1 success coach literally on the planet, and you're sitting in your chair like, yep, this is good. I'm going to change my life. Yep, this is really good. I'm going to change my life. Your brain's going to be like, no, you ain't, okay? You've got to do something new with your body so your brain knows that you're literally here for this. Your brain knows that you actually mean business. If that makes sense, give me a double fist bump like this and say yes. Okay? I'm going to teach you a couple tricks to make it easy for you. Number 1, put your shoulders back, for God's sakes. Ladies, let the girls out to play. Lift your head up. Put a smile on your face, okay? Lift those eyebrows. Lighten it. Let your hair down. I'm going to ask you to coach yourself to stay in a body position like this for the next 3 hours. If I ask you to shout something, shout it out. Why not? It's just your life. If I ask you to type something in the chat box, I want this thing to never stop rolling. In fact, take your hands up like this. Come on. Lay them on the keyboard. And leave them there the whole day. If I say the 3 keys to transforming your life are A, B, and C, you better be typing that stuff up. If you like what I say I like it, KK. I'm with you, KK. If I say we're playing full out, are you with me? You're going to say what inside the chat box? You're going to say what inside the chat box? Heck yes, baby. That's the kind of energy I'm looking for. Now, I'll give you another tip. That type of energy is going to move your retention level today from a 10%, are you ready for it? This is based on science, to a 90%. So I'm just saying, it's your choice, but would you rather show up with a little bit of energy today and increase your retention to 90%? Yes or yes? Okay? Come on! Give it up for you! Whoa, yes. All right, come on back, shake the body out, lift your shoulders back, head up, smile, and own yourself in your seat. We're going to begin the day. When you signed up for this event, you learned that today you're going to do 3 things, okay? Number 1, you're going to define what are your top outcomes for the rest of the year. It's the middle of the year, so we want to press that reset button. If you're crushing it, we're going to take it to another level. But all of us need to know, we need to have some type of vision of where we're going. If you're lost, and I'm saying that you don't even know yet, trust the process. Stay with me. I'm going to guide you through this today. Your top outcomes for the rest of the year. Number 2, we're going to apply what Tony calls the momentum model. Throw it in the chat if you're fast enough. The momentum model to your life. Without momentum, you ain't going anywhere. So we want to get you some momentum so you start to feel that good juju, and then it's going to roll into your life for the next 6 months. The third thing that we're going to do is what UHPW is known for. You can ask any alumni that's here tuning in today. We run an 8-week program all about identity. Why identity? For you to get what you want in your life, you can't try to do that by being who you are today. You've got to expand, you've got to grow, and you've got to almost assume the identity of the future you so that your results in your life can catch up to it. If that makes sense, double fist bump. So you are the way you are today, not because that's who you are, but because that's who you've practiced being. When you practice something, you get good at it. So the version of you sitting here today, if you don't like something in your finances, if you don't like something in your relationships, if you don't like something with your physical body, for God's sakes, it's only like that because you've practiced it so much. Today, we're going to paint this vision for you, and you're going to create something called an identity map to show you that there's a version of you that you've been and a version of you that you're becoming. And we want to give you the path to go from here, to hop from lily pad A to lily pad B. Would you be up for that? So let's dive in to the methodology. If you've got your workbook, you guys can grab this from the Facebook group. You can grab this from the page that you got into the Zoom room. We have a digital copy. You can follow along. I just printed mine out. Okay? And just so you guys know, I always do these classes before I take you through them. So you're going to have a lot of fun today. But if you flip to your first page, and if you don't have it, no problem at all. You can just use a plain notebook. I'm going to walk you through the UHPW methodology. It looks something like this, but I'm actually going to shift to the whiteboard. So you don't need the workbook. If you got it, amazing. But you can follow along with me right here. So what we're going to do to start the day is ground you in the fundamentals. If you want to transform in some capacity, I'm not here to tell you what that looks like, but if there's a part of you that has one area of your life at least you'd like to have a reset in, you'd like to take to the next level, I'd love if you put yes in the chat box. And then you can share it in the chat box or just jot it down. What area of your life do you need a reset in? What area do you need a reset in? Okay, so health, finance, business. Great. Leadership, health. Someone said who I am. That's beautiful honesty with yourself. I love that. Energy, career, leadership. Great. Whatever it is that you want, consider yourself at the mall today. You're going to go shopping and you're going to take home the outcome that you're looking for. But we want to walk you through the fundamentals and the basics. If you have ever attempted this before, I want to speak directly to you because I've been you. You've ever attempted to make a shift, attempted to make a change, and it went really well for a couple days or a couple weeks, and then time went by, and then you looked in the mirror, and you woke up one day and you said, I did it again. It didn't stick again. If you've ever been there, give me that head nod or put relate inside the chat box. My hypothesis is that once you know better, you do better. The great Maya Angelou said that. Once you know better, you do better. Once you know what I'm going to show you here, the foundations, the basics, you're going to actually know why your human behavior is leading to the outcomes you're experiencing in your life. So I'm going to take you through this entire wheel here, starting with number 1. Now, These three pillars can single-handedly, if you didn't listen to anything else I said all day, these three single pillars can make a huge shift for you in your life. And it all started with pillar number one. Now, 45 years ago, Tony Robbins asked himself this question. I can't wait for you guys to meet Tony one day if you haven't yet. Tony Robbins asked himself this question. He became actually obsessed with it. He's like, what's the difference that makes the difference? Why is it that one person has outstanding results, an amazing relationship, world lit on fire, love, passion, zest, they eat right consistently, they go to the gym, and another person doesn't? Why is it that one person can show up to a free class like this, that's 3 hours, and get a lot out of it, and literally be able to leave and say, holy moly, I attended that at one event with Tony Robbins and UHPW and KK, and my whole life changed, and somebody else doesn't? Like, what's the special sauce? What's the secret? What's the difference that makes the difference? And he became so obsessed with figuring this question out that he made it his life work. And I want to ask you guys, what do you think the difference is? Because all of you here, if you're here today, you're smart and you're kicking ass in life because you made the choice to be here. That says something about you. So I guarantee you know the answer to this. Self-worth, patterns, commitment, fear, ambition, why, action, focus, state of mind, energy, habits. Sort of. We didn't really get it, but you're close. You're tiptoeing around it. Do you want to know what it is? Oh, come on. I said, do you want to know what it is, for God's sakes? Pillar number one is your patterns. Now, I'm going to ask you to say it out loud. In this opening portion, I'm going to use my body a lot. I want you to mirror me. If I ask you to say something out loud, I want you to shout it so it gets in your body. So what is pillar number one? Awesome. Very good. It's patterns. Who can tell me what a pattern is? Throw it inside the chat box. A pattern is a what? Habit. Exactly. You guys are fast. How many of you, by a show of hands, have good habits? Come on. You got some. Who brushed their teeth this morning, for God's sakes? Not all of you. Oh, my goodness. Good thing you're here getting a reset. How many of you have bad habits? Who's got bad habits? Okay, and some of you are quicker to raise your hand for that. We want you to acknowledge what's great about you already, so we're going to work on that. But we all have good habits and we all have bad habits. And these habits are things that we practice over and over. So in terms of patterns, what kind of patterns as human beings do you and I both have? We have thought patterns. We have behavior patterns. We have action patterns. How many of you think something over and over again that you're like, damn, I wish I would stop thinking that? I wish I would stop believing that about myself or about other people. Or I wish I would stop doing that thing or eating that sleeve of Oreos at 10 p.m. I don't know what it is for you, but we've all got some pattern, thought, emotional, or behavior habits that we've practiced so much that have become a part of who we are. Now, I want to show you something about these. Shake your body out if you can. And if you got 2 arms and 2 hands, hold your hands up like this. And if not, you could just imagine it. About 6 inches apart. That's it. Some of the guys on this very, mostly ladies Zoom call, your 6 inches measurement is a little bit off. I mean, I'm just gotta call it out when I see it. Who said that? Okay, take your hands and interlock your fingers just like this, and I want you to just start to do it over and over and over again, and just notice how that feels. Take a couple deep breaths and notice how that feels. And then stop. Who here, by a show of hands, put the same thumb on top when you did this every single time? Show of hands, real quick, come on. Okay, why did that happen? Because it's a what? Come on, shout it out, it's a what? It is a habit or a pattern that you picked up at one point in your life and you kept doing over and over again. So potentially that could have been when you were like 4 years old in church with your family and you folded your hands one time, and here you are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, not even aware that you're a right thumber or a left thumber, and you're doing it every time. Now, here's the crazy thing. Is it possible that there is another pattern or habit that you are running in your life that you picked up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, and you've been doing it every single day without conscious awareness? Is it possible? Yes or yes? So here's the crazy thing. What if some of the patterns that you are unaware of or unconscious to, you are running today in your life, and they're taking you in a direction that you do not want to go? What if there are some patterns or habits that you are running in your life that are taking you down a road that you don't want to go anymore? That was a part of who you were in the past, not a part of who you want to be. Tammy True says time to reprogram. But the way you got to reprogram is you got to get really honest and you got to say, what actually are my patterns? Here's the mic drop of this whole first section. Here's what I want you to know. If you've got any patterns, 1, 2, 3, many, 50, 100, I don't care where you are in your life. If you're at the lowest point right now or you're riding the high, I want you to write this down and tattoo it on your foot and put it in the chat box. You are not your pattern. Your pattern is something that you've practiced and you've gotten really good at it, so much so that it's a part of who you are, but we can untangle that and rewire that and shift it away from you so that you can become who you want to be. Remember, I told you this is about the journey from who you've been to where you want to go, to who you want to be. If you're with me, I'm going to ask you to do this double fist bump. I want you to shake the body out, keep the energy in your body. Are you with me? Double fist bump, say yes. Okay, let's move on to the second pattern, or the second pillar. The second pillar is, every single one is so important, but this one is potentially one of the most important pieces. The reason most people cannot make a shift from where they were to where they want to go, or in your case, where you are today and the reset that you actually want, is because they cannot make a what? They struggle making, thank you, Danielle, decisions. Decision. The art of decision making has disintegrated over the years. There are so many people in life that simply make preferences these days. I'd prefer to have a tight butt. I'd prefer to have abs. I'd prefer to have a sexy, passionate, world lit on fire relationship. I'd prefer to love my job. I'd prefer to be a morning person. I'd prefer to have, a lot of money in the stock market. Preference, preference, preference. It's almost like our future is stuck in the future and we're trying to grab it. If you've been there before, put I relate inside the chat box. The biggest shift that you can make in your life is to divorce preferences and marry decisions. A decision means, I want you to write this down. And again, if there's some good stuff I'm saying, you're like, dang, that was good. I want you to know that it's not just KK pulling this out of my bootay. I've learned this from Tony Robbins. So I want you to really be certain that if you apply this today, it's based on years and years and years of experience. These are lessons and principles that have transformed my own life. That's why I have so much passion about it. And that's why I love sharing it with you. A decision means, put this in the chat box, to cut off from. Like a scissors, to cut off from. And once you cut it off, it means no other option exists besides the path that you've chosen. No other option exists besides the path that you've chosen. Sometimes at our events, we have Tony's signature event is called Unleash the Power Within. If you've been there, you can throw it in the chat. It's like the greatest event in the history of the universe. And there's one part on one of the days where he gets really close to the camera. He says, it's in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. And it's a very intense moment. But a lot of you know this, right? The moment you said, I do, the moment you said, I love you, the moment you took the leap, the moment you finally went up to your son's hot soccer coach and told him how you feel, right? Those moments of decision where you get the courage and you act, they can transform your life. But it's not going to happen if you make preferences. It only happens if you make decisions. Now, here's what's interesting about decisions. Decisions happen in a moment. You've got one chance to make that decision, and you want to move fast, you want to move quick, and you want to move in alignment with who you're becoming. That leads us to our third pillar. How do you make better decisions? Number one, practice making more of them. Anytime you have an opportunity to make a decision, you want to decide in alignment with where you're going, not where you've been. But what's the third pillar? How do you make better decisions? You've got to know who you see if you can finish that sentence. You've got to know who you are. That third pillar is identity. You've got to know who you are. The strongest force that drives a human being is that human being's need to remain consistent with how they define themselves. When you have a strong sense of identity you can easily make decisions that are the patterns that are in line with where you want to go. When you are not experiencing what it is that you want and you're experiencing a life that's distant from that, that's less than what you want, it's likely because you're making decisions or preferences that are not in alignment with who you really want to be. Is this making sense? Let me give you an example. Who here knows somebody that is a vegan? Anybody? Who is a vegan? Oh, Marley Corman. She's like, yeah, girl. You know when someone's a vegan, they're like, they are loud and proud. And that's incredible. I want to honor you for that. For whatever reason, health or animals or anything. But when someone's a vegan, do they know what they can eat and won't eat? Like, I was with a girlfriend of mine that was a vegan, and we were both famished. We hadn't eaten all day. And there was this, like, juicy, wet cheeseburger. I mean, if you're a meat person, sorry to my vegans. But it was like this juicy cheeseburger. Just, you know the one when you're so hungry and they put something right in front of you and it's like just so yummy? And I wasn't eating meat at the time, but I wanted it so bad that I was willing to break my pattern of who I was not eating meat. I was willing to break it because I was that hungry. But my girlfriend, do you think that she would eat that burger? A true vegan, do you think she would eat it? Hell no. She would not, no matter if she was so hungry, she wouldn't eat it because she knows who she is. Here's another example. When someone is trying to quit smoking, they might say something like, oh, that's okay, I'm trying to quit. Versus someone that says, I am not a smoker. It's an identity shift. I am vegan. I am not a smoker. Once you know exactly who you are, it's pretty easy to figure out your course of direction or your actions in your life. If you're with me, double fist bump. If you're with me, double fist bump. So we want you to know who you are. That's why today you're going to build an identity map. You're going to leave today knowing who you've been and who you want to be and how to get from where you were to where you want to go. Now, you're going to meet a cast of characters inside of yourself, especially if you continue on and train with Tony Robbins in different capacities. I'm just here today to give you a little nudge in the right direction, but there are many different parts of you. For the purpose of today's class, we're going to talk about two different parts of you. In all of your identities, okay, and living in each and every one of us, me included, there are kind of two parts of us. You've got a limiting version of yourself, and you have an empowering version of yourself. Your limiting identity, okay, limiting identity is the dream killer. For the purpose of this class, I'm going to call that your old self. Why? Because can you change whenever you want to? Does the past have to equal the future? Could you be a different person than who you were 20 minutes ago before class started? Yes or yes? You get to change, my friend. So for today's class, anytime we refer to this part of us, I want you to say, in the past. In the past. And I want you to throw it out with your hands, in the past. Because that's not who you are anymore. That was who you were before you came to the Life Design Masterclass. But you tell me, are there some parts of you that are making you kind of shrink back to where you've came from? Shrink back to an old part of you? Here's the interesting thing about your patterns. Take your hands up again. Let's go back to our thumbs. What happens when you try to change a pattern? You've been doing it one way for so long, thinking, acting, believing one way for so long, that when you go to make a change, everyone take your hands out again, 6 inches apart. Hold them there. Get ready. When I say 1, 2, 3, go with a ton of energy and enthusiasm, I want you to put the other thumb on top. Not yet, when I say go. 1, 2, 3, go. Yes, Julie Kranitz. How does that feel? How does that feel? Yuck, awkward, different, weird, unnatural. I had to think about it. Uncomfortable. Why? Why? Because you changed a what? Now, let me tell you what so many human beings do in this scenario. And I've been there like a gajillion times, okay? So if it's you, if you do this, that's okay. That's why you're here today. This is what they do. They make that change, and it feels so uncomfortable that instead of staying, instead of sticking it out, instead of continuing with this course, even though it's challenging, we go back to the way it was. And we find ourselves doing that in life over and over again. 2, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. We have 80-year-old women inside of the UHPW program. I don't care what age you are. We call this, I'm going to dance for you right now. This time it's free. Next time you got to pay for it, okay? We call this dancing. You're dancing between who you want to be and who you've been. And we're flirting with the change, but then pulling back to safety. Flirting with the newness, but going back to what was. Going back to the old programs. If you're following this right now, put all in the chat box. Put I'm with you, KK, in that chat box. You've got to know this. Why? Why? Because when you're dancing between who you've been and who you want to be, the most important moment is now your chance to make a what? The moment you find yourself in the dance, should I do what I've done in the past? Or do I act in alignment with who I really am, and now I have to make a decision? And I say you're on the decision line, okay? You're straddling the decision line, and now you have to choose. The way you choose is you say, who the F am I? Am I her? Or am I this version of me? So your limiting identity, just raise a hand if you know you got one in there. I call mine Griselda. She's horrible, okay? When she comes out to play, it's not good for me. But I know everything about her. And I want to know from you. I want you to take a couple minutes right now, and I'm just going to throw it up. Let me put this little writing exercise on the screen for you guys. I want you to take a couple seconds and evaluate. Being as honest as possible. In your life, the limiting version of you, what are some of the qualities about him or her? What are some of the beliefs? What has really been holding you back, and what is holding you back from the next level? If you really had to think about it, and before you do this, take it off for a second. I want to explain it like this. If you were to give yourself a rating right now from a 1 to a 10, a 1 is you are doing, a 10 is you're doing so unbelievably phenomenal that you couldn't possibly tap into another level of your potential. And a 1 is you're just kind of good. Good life, good marriage, good job, doing the same thing over, or it's just kind of sucky. 10 is like you couldn't possibly be doing any better. Like you are tapping into your soul's intention, the creator that beats your heart. You are living up to it, to its fullest. What would you rate yourself at? I remember my first time I learned from Tony Robbins, and I was asked this question. And I put down on my sheet, I was like, I'm a 10, you know what I mean? I'm freaking crushing it right now. I'm kind of kicking major butt. I'm working with Tony Robbins. I'm learning from the guy. I'm surrounded by awesome people. I'm like a 10. And this guy that I owe honestly so much to, his name was Eli. He leaned over to me and he said, hey, what'd you rate yourself at? And I was like, honestly, a 10. He's like, is that your honest answer? I was like, yeah, I'm crushing it. And he goes, you know, one time, my girlfriend was at this UPW event. UPW is Unleash the Power Within. It's like this intense 4-day event that Tony Robbins hosts. I want to make sure you guys know it because a lot of you are new here. And he said his girlfriend was sitting next to this person who he knew is like my biggest idol in life. And I got to protect the name, so I'm not going to say it. But this woman has changed the lives of millions of people around this world. And she's sitting in the very front section where all the stars sit. She's someone that commands the attention of millions of people in the drop of a second. Someone that comes from humble beginnings and created a masterpiece out of her life. And he said his girlfriend was sitting next to her. And I'm like, what? That person, my idol? He says, what do you think she rated herself at? And what do you guys think? You don't know who it is, but what would you say she rated herself at? Just somebody that's like totally crushing it. I'm thinking 14, 17 out of 10. He says 3. And I'm like, what? So I'm like crossing out the 10 on my page because I'm so embarrassed. I like don't want anyone to see it. And I'm like, why? And he says, because she said, the reason I rated myself at a 3 is because I never forget what I'm actually capable of. I'm measuring myself compared to what I'm capable of. She says, you know what most people do? they go through their life experience, and then life happens to them. Right? Like you got a hit here and then a hit there, and then you had 7 kids and that thing happened, and all the pressure starts to stack down. So you have this big vision of all the things you're capable of achieving in your life, and then the pressures come, and that ceiling of potential starts to smush down, smush down, smush down, smush down because of everything, and you start to adjust your life to match what life is giving you, and then all of a sudden you're looking out of a lens down here, and then you're saying, yeah, from here, I'm definitely a 10. And he reminded me, have you lifted that? Have you assessed yourself compared to what you're actually really capable of? Because once you do that, you can breathe again. You have that vision again, that feeling when you get out of bed and your feet hit the floor and you're like fucking excited for your life. So you have to lift that. And once you lift it from that level, sit up in your seat with some energy, shoulders back, head up, smile on your face. From that perspective, what would you rate yourself at? You got to be honest with yourself. You got to call it tight. You can't get where you want to go if you're not real. 1 to 10, where are you living? What's your home? What have you practiced? Who are you most often? 3s, 5s, 6s, 3s, 1s, 5s. Someone says, okay, 1. Keep your answer, whatever it is. I just want you to have a real answer. So for this group, the Life Design Masterclass, our average here as a community, and is this a community? Is this a family? Yes or yes? Come on, you tell me yes or yes. As a family, collectively, all of us, we're total strangers from around the world. We are all falling at around 4. How's that? What do you think about a 4? Do you guys like living a 4 life? Are you feeling good about a 4? A 4 out of 10 means that you're tapping into 40% of your potential. 40% of your potential. That means how much of your potential is left? That means you've got 60% of who you are left on you could be 60% more of yourself, have 60% more love, 60% more connection, 60% more caring, more dedication, more passion, 60% more of what you desire and want. Who would want to tap into 60% more? And you tell me, when would that be a good time? Rochelle, Ingrid Throny, baby on your hip. Do you want 60% more for that baby girl? So if you want 60% more, who's the only one that can do it? I can't reach through here and grab you and give you the 60%. Today's trainings will apply to you to the extent that you apply them, to the extent that you are present here today. So with this, I need us to get so honest, so raw, so real. I did the exercise first, so I want to show you how much I wrote, okay? And don't stress about writing that much, but the purpose of showing you is I want you to let it rip. Don't try to be neat. Don't try to be perfect. Be messy. Be human. And answer this question. If you are not giving a 10, if you are at a 4, why? What's holding you back really? And I don't want those cookie cutter answers. Oh, it's fear. Oh, it's time. Fear of what? What is really, really in the way? If you were to get really honest, to write down those things that you don't even want to write down on the paper. No one has to look at this today. You can tear it up after, but you got to know. I don't need to know yours, but you got to know it. So let's put this up on the clock or the screen. We're going to give you 3 minutes to answer these questions as honestly as you can inside of this box or on your worksheet, and I'm going to start writing them in here as you go. So throw them in the chat box, and I'll see you back in 2.5 to 3 minutes. Begin. Awesome. Let's get some music, Marabi. right, great job, you guys. Take a look at your energy in your bodies. Shoulders back, head up. Don't lose that posture. Shake that body out and come on back. Can you give yourselves a round of applause? Please, please. Honestly, I think I've supported, yeah, you've been amazing. Sarah Foley, good to see you. Yes. All right. Welcome back. I want to celebrate you guys. I literally think I've done over like 2,000 sessions like this in the course of my time supporting Tony. And I have to tell you, the level of honesty and openness that you poured into that exercise, like I said, have the beginner's mind. You've probably a million times asked yourself what my limiting beliefs are, but we wanted to go a step deeper and really get some truths, not just to figure them out, but to be able to make a shift from a 4 all the way to that 10. So what you just did was so important. I want to call out a couple trends that I saw with our group, okay? Number 1, lots of different types of fear. Fear of success, fear of failure, fear of being too much, fear of not being enough, fear of pain, fear of joy, fear of rejection, fear of love, fear of criticism. All these different types of fear. Raise your hand if you've ever been afraid before, felt some type of fear. And here's what's cool. If you're here on a live video with your camera on, raising your hand and admitting that you've had fear, sounds kind of freaking fearless to me, if you ask me. So are you really afraid? Okay, just planting that seed. Not enough. I have my lane, stay in it. I saw someone say, actually a couple people say, if I grow, my partner and I will drift apart. Why I loved that is because it's really honest and truthful. You know, this community here today is made up of, I don't know, about 90% women. We've got our gents here. We've got people that identify in all sorts of ways. So I want to welcome all of you. But I think that's a really honest thing to say as a woman, right? Like, if we develop ourselves, or even in any gender, am I going to drift apart from my partner and grow in this capacity, and we're not going to grow together, and then we'll leave each other? If you've ever felt like that before, say yes. We had a woman in UHPW, the program, who had this same type of belief, and she ended up flipping it to say, if I don't grow, then we won't make it. So it's just so interesting to see what those truths are so that you can start to plant these seeds to flip it. We're not doing that today, but I want you to get a feel for what's going on here. I had someone say my health, or what if. What if is one of my favorite ones, because like, what if the other way? What if it doesn't work? What if it does? What if I don't make it? What if you do? What if they don't like me? What if they love you? If you just thought the opposite way, it's so funny what our minds do. Complacency. I'll end with this one and move on for the sake of time, but I remember being at an Unleash the Power Within event. I'm speaking about this so much because it's infused into my body and into my bones. I remember before I ever knew Tony, my mom listened to him on cassette tapes way back in the day. And I got to go to my first event, then my second, then my third, and I think I've been to like 16 at this point. Like, I literally, truly try to infuse this information and live it, not just learn it. And I heard him talk about this story about this dog laying on the ground, not moving. It was in Los Angeles, California. I believe it was 2018-ish. It was in one of the convention centers. Some of you were probably there. And someone was talking about being complacent. Like, they've just been so comfortable in their life. They have that good relationship, that good marriage, right? That good this, that good that. And this person was complacent. Tony was saying, oh my gosh, there's a story about this kid walking down the street with his mom, and he saw this dog laying on the ground, not moving. And all of a sudden they realized that he was kind of stuck. And the little boy goes, Mom, why isn't the dog not moving? And she goes, sweetie, the dog's sitting on a nail. And the boy's like, why wouldn't it get up off the nail? And the mom says, because it doesn't hurt bad enough. Until your life shakes you up, sometimes you don't have that motivation for change. We are all about to walk through collectively one of the most insane times in our history, right? We're feeling it with inflation, the market. Some big stuff could come up. For some of you, you're like, let's go, giddy up, baby. I love when times get tough. It turns me on. Let's let it rip. Some of you are getting a little nervous right now. We want to get you all in that space where you're welcoming it, because we can't hide it and run from it. Life is what it is. But if it's not hurting, we need to give you some leverage to make you move. I'll give you an example that's a little bit more like you can really taste it. If I were to call, who has a goal of health? Who has a health reset goal? You really want to get your health in order. So Carol Ann's iPhone. What's up, girl? I see you. If a magazine, Women's Health, called you tomorrow and said, hey, you're going to be the next naked cover of Health Magazine next month, first Tuesday of the month, how many times you going to go to the gym between now and then? If it was a non-negotiable, play with me for a second. She's like, I'm going to go every day. I'm going to eat healthy. It's not even a question. I'm going to make it happen because holy moly, my bare body is going to be on that cover. That's what we call leverage. What does a lever do? It helps you move something that's hard to move. If you have been running your what patterns for so dang long, you're going to be hard to move, which means you've got to put in the extra work, get the resources, get the training, learn from someone who's been there before to help you move that boulder. If you're with me, double fist bump. If you're with me, double fist bump. Now, the truth is, this is not the only version of you, but we need to address something. I want you to put a circle around all those crap things you just wrote down. Put a circle around them. Put a circle around them. This is one of your identities. I want you to give a nickname to it right now. I give mine the nickname Griselda. Okay, give that a nasty old nickname that you don't really like that much. Okay, Camille says Butterface. Lazy Susan. Okay, what else? Mouse. What else? What's a nickname you would give to this version of you that has you shrink when you're inside of the dance and has you choose the thing that you don't want to do? Poopy Head, Drizelda, Cruella, Sensitive Sally, Wicked Wenda, Virus, Iris the Virus, Cocoon, Miss Blah, Priscilla, Weak, Lying Laura, Biatch, Gianna, Hiding Hilda. So you guys are great. I love Debbie Downer. I like that you're curating it to really reflect that identity. And if you can't make a decision about what to name this version of you, is it possible that you struggle making decisions in other areas of your life as well? Pick a name, for God's sakes. Have fun with it. If you don't know what it is, you can borrow Griselda. Now, you are the CEO of your life. If you were hiring for the CEO position of the company of you, and someone submitted a job application and said, you should hire me. I've got fear of everything. I've got crap beliefs about myself. My number one question I ask whenever I'm presented with an opportunity is, what if I fail? I always stay in my lane. I'm a procrastinator like nobody's business. I'm extremely complacent, and I don't know where to start, so I never go anywhere. Are you going to hire that person as the decision maker for your company, the CEO? But you mean to tell me that right now, when you're in the middle of the shout it out what? The dance, when you're changing your patterns from who you've been to who you want to be, and you're straddling that decision line and you have to decide to step up or shrink, that this Griselda is showing up to make the decision? At that moment, you tell me, who do you need to show up? Has it been this version of you showing up? What if you go another 5 years with this version of you showing up on the decision line? You've got to figure out, when you're on that decision line, how do you tap into her, him, this part of you? This is the version of you that signed up for this masterclass, yes or yes. That's the version of you that showed up and I said, let the girls out to play, and you were like, okay, let's go. That's the version of you that is shouting back answers and playing full out and finding yourself at this random 3-hour event. And you're like, whatever, F it, I'm going to go all in. There is a tiger inside of you. There is a force inside of you. There is something inside of you that beats your heart, and you know it. At some point, it comes out. Yes or yes? Feed the beast. Feed the beast and it shall live. How do we grow this, her, the holy grail, and bowing down for the rest of today? Out with the old. We want to focus on this part of you. Really quick, rapid fire. I want you to give me adjectives and qualities about the best part of you. What's the best part of you? What are some qualities about him or her? So, tenacious. Lots of courage, tenacious, courage, sassy, strong, disciplined, resilient, decision maker, brave, grounded, sexy, humble, likes risk. I love that. Assertive. So for the rest of the day today, with your permission, I'd like to focus on this version of you. Is that cool? So in order to get there, I want everyone to make some type of physical shift to your body, okay? To represent that you've gone out with the old, in with the new. We're gonna play a game of make-believe because we can't rewire your whole body in 3 hours, but I want you to taste it. I want you to pretend you're like waving a magic wand and all of a sudden this part of you is gone and now you're an actress, you're an actor, and you're gonna act as this part of you for the rest of the day. You have to ask yourself, what would this part of me think, do, act, behave? How would this version of me write in my notebook? How would this version of me work in the chat box? I want you to make a physical shift to your body right now, whether that's with your hair, whether you're gonna shift to a ponytail, whether you're gonna unzip the jacket, take the jacket off, put the glasses on, take them off, whether you wanna put a red lip on. I don't know what you gotta do. Make some physical shift that represents you're no longer Griselda, but you're stepping into who? Who is it? What's the nickname for this version of you? Just nothing serious. It's not permanent. Just pick one. Pick one for the day. It's Queen Boss, Lightness, Portia Rose, Razor, Vibrant, Vixen, Sapphire, Sasha Fierce, Ravishing Raven, Radiance, Fierce, Warrior, Venus, Goddess, Queen Diva, Queen T, Gutsy, Maribel, Wanda the Warrior, Lighthouse. Whoa, yes. You guys are so great. If you don't have a name yet, don't freak out. We got a whole rest of this journey together today. Just trust the process and stay with me. Let me do a quick check-in. We're gonna move to the next exercise right now. We're gonna pull from this and shift to the next piece. Are you with me? I mean, like, are you really with me? Like full throttle, full out. I'm going to invite you right now. You don't want to miss one word I say because every single thing has been strategically put together by Tony, so you've got to stay until the last moment today. But if you have not shown up the way Holy Warrior Princess would, now is your invitation to change it. Does the past have to equal the future? Hell no. This is your moment to go all in, to close the other browsers, to shut out the outside world and be fully present because it's just your life we're talking about. So now what we want to do is turn our beliefs, our feelings, our thoughts, the version of us that we believe we are, this other self, into some results. For the sake of today's class, I'm going to refer to this as new self. Okay, or Sasha Fierce, Beyonce, Dazzling Dawn, whatever you name it, whatever nickname you gave, we are going to get rid of old self and then completely focus on new self for the rest of the day. If that makes sense, double fist bump. Okay, we're gonna move over to the momentum model. If you are in your digital workbook, this is on just the next page. You can fill it out online or just copy it into a workbook. We're gonna start down here on the bottom right corner of the box that has an R in it. If you see it, put a finger on the nose. If you want to create your results in your life, you need momentum. I remember I was skiing with my family earlier this year, and there was this huge hill, and I was scared going down it. It was going really fast. I started to like pizza with my skis. You guys know that? And I was slowing down, slowing down, slowing down. And when I got to the bottom, there was this like flat portion of the mountain, and I didn't have enough what? I didn't have enough momentum. I didn't have enough what? Momentum to get myself across the mountain because I was scared and I was stopping. So I ended up being stalled on the flat part and I had to squish, 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 all the way over like 200 feet to finally get to the other spot where I could drop down. If you do not have momentum, where are you gonna go? So you gotta learn how to create momentum in your own life. I'm going to take you through this model. It was created by a very genius man who is super, super tall and has impacted the lives of 50 million people from 100 different nations. Who do you think that could be? Mr. Tony Robbins created this formula. He's taught it to the best of the best around the world. And I'd like to teach it to you if you want to know it. Do you want to know it? We're going to start in this bottom right-hand box. It stands for results. So write the word results in the box. Results. Now, this is a mid-year reset, which means that at the start of the year, it is very likely that you asked yourself, what kind of results do I want this year? Give me a head nod if you already did an exercise where you wrote down some goals for the year. Now, a mid-year reset means that we don't have to beat around the bush. It's possible that you might have achieved some of them, and you might need way new goals. You're like, I didn't achieve those, but I don't even like those goals anymore because I've changed so much. So let's just address the obvious. There's no need to be upset about the goals that you didn't hit. This is a new opportunity, and that was you in the what? That was you in the, you're a new part of you now. You're a new version of you now. So step up to the plate like the you that you are. I do want to acknowledge some of you have already dropped your body positions down to the old part of you. Come on, shift that back, lift those shoulders back, lift that head up, coach yourself here. Now, I'm going to go back over here for a second. If the old version of you created the results, jotted down the results, if it was Griselda creating my results, is it possible that Griselda created some results that are less than what I'm capable of, that are results that are possible when I'm looking through my lens of how life has happened to me, and all I'm capable of is results over here in this lane, in this experience of life? Is that possible, yes or yes? So we're going to play make-believe right now. You've got to have fun with this, okay? So shake that body, and I want you to pretend like you're an actor. Let's pretend like we just destroyed this version of you. It's gone, poof, I just lit a flame and scissored it, and it's just out of here. It no longer exists. And now all that exists is this version of you. That's it. This is all that exists right now. I see some of you doing the hair flip, not mandatory, optional. But all that exists now is this version of you that you are creating. So from this part of you, I want you to ask yourself, what results are actually possible, and I don't want you to think in your whole life, in the next 6 months. If Griselda didn't exist, if not one of these beliefs existed, if you never had fear, if you never had doubt, if you never had those emotions that popped up from this, and all you had was this part of you, what results are you capable of achieving in the next 6 months? And I want you to get specific. Start to throw some out. Let's just get an idea of it. Give me some specific results. Just have some fun. Just shoot off the hip. So we would lose some weight. Okay, so health. What else? Debt-free. Clear credit cards. These are coming so fast I can't even track them. Okay, so profit in business. Increase connection with husband. Or you can sub with partner for whatever that means for you. New car. Truly happy. Love that. That was beautiful. Someone says on fire in their relationship. I'm going to draw a flame. This is not a drawing class, so just ignore that. More time with my children. I'm going to draw a time. Love for myself, get a man, connection with kids, productivity. Getting my book published, amazing. Get rid of my old self. How many of you, by a show of hands, want to get rid of your old self? Make some noise. I love that you guys are incorporating. Yes. I love that you are incorporating the teachings. This is the journey. So I'm going to put old self and give you guys an X. So we just got started together, but I want you to sit back in your seats with some energy, put your head up, and have fun with this. Remember, you're an actor, so remove yourself and say, if Sasha Fierce was answering this question, what would they write down? I want you to pretend you've got 2 minutes on the clock, that's it, that anything you write down will come true. I'm going to put a question up. It says, what's possible? Take 2 minutes. We're going to put some music on. I want you to shake the body out right now. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Enjoy the heck out of this process, my friends. You're creating your life. Begin. Holy moly, you guys are doing so great. Shake the body out, lift your head up. Don't let yourself give up now. You've come too far. Smile if you could. Oh, I got Laura DePileta giving me a shimmy on the screen. Welcome back, everyone. Come on back, come on back. Can you give yourselves a round of applause? I'm seriously in love with you guys. Can I give you a hug? And I just love you. This has been so fun to just watch and witness all of you really being the creators of your life. And if this exercise was challenging for you, and let me know in the chat box if it was. If you were like, I don't even know what I want. I don't even know what I want. For some of you, it was great. And I want you to know that even if you wrote down 1 or 2 things, that was like a smashing success. The goal is not to write down 700 things. But if this is challenging for you, it's just pointing out that we need to refine and get a little bit more clear on who we, shout it out, are. If you're struggling coming up with some results, it's likely because maybe you're in a season of a lot of change. and you really feel, you really relate to what I had said about there's a part of you that you've practiced for so long being, and there's this other part of you that you feel like lives out inside of you, and it's like trying to come out. It's like begging for you to notice it. It's like, come back home to who we really are. And so it may be a little challenging to figure out what you want if you're also trying to shift from who you've been to where you're going and changing your patterns and getting on the decision line and being in the dance. That's a lot going on. Can you trust the process? I don't believe you. I said, can you trust the process? Yes or yes? Thank you for shouting that out. Let's move on. Even if you got one result down, you have succeeded. Okay, so we're going to start off with results, or what we call our outcome. What do we want? Say that back with me. What do I want? What do I really, really want? You wrote down a ton of things. You might not want all of them. You might want some more than the other. Whatever you did is perfect. It's just we're just kind of running through the exercise. The next question we want to ask ourselves to generate what? To generate momentum is, are there specific and measurable actions, thank you, Heather Vaughn, that we can take to reach this result? Are there specific and measurable actions I can take to reach this result? Now, I'm going to run through these next boxes relatively quick. There's nothing for you to really write down in these boxes. I just want to plant some seeds. Who here has ever been or knows somebody? This is a good one. You know somebody who's like, I've tried everything and it's still not working. I've literally tried everything. I've like every book, every seminar. I've done all these things for my weight. I've literally tried it all and nothing's working. I'm going to teach you just a very small, distinct difference between what we call extra small actions versus extra large actions. Oftentimes, incredible, Maria Robinson here must be a Tony Robbins graduate from maybe an Unleash the Power Within event. She says, Tony Robbins would say, change your approach. And that's exactly what he would say. If you tried something and it didn't work, then try something else. And if that didn't work, try something else. And if that doesn't work, try something else. It all stems from the mindset. But even different than that, what if you're taking a series of extra small actions and expecting to have results? If I finally mustered up the courage, and I was a business person, I finally mustered up the courage, I said, you know what, in order for me to create more revenue, I have to go make more sales calls. I'm just giving a random example. So that person says, you know what, I'm gonna go up to that person's house and knock on the door, and I'm gonna do a pitch, just a cold call. And they get all of this nervous energy inside of them, but they're like, I know what's happening. I'm in the middle of come on, shout it out, put it in the chat box. I'm in the middle of oh, KK said it. I know that I'm straddling the what? So I know who I want to be. I want to be a leader. I want to be Sasha Fierce. I want to be Beyonce. So that means vegan action. That means if I want to be this, that I must go and knock on that door. So then she said, I'm going to take that what? I'm going to take that what? Shout it out. Come on. To get to the what? The result. So she goes up there and knocks on the door and says, you wouldn't want to buy anything from me, would you? Would you say that's an extra small action or an extra large action? We kind of did it. We maybe did that action at a level what? At a level what? So here's what's crazy. A lot of people, you probably know people, you probably sleep in the same bed with people who do this, that say they've tried everything, but they've taken a ton of series of extra small actions, and they're defeated, and they look in the mirror like, I can't possibly get there. But you've never supersized your action. Amanda said half-ass. That's kind of like a stinger way to put it. I say, what if you had more courage? What if you tapped into more potential? What if you said, okay, what would it look like if I did this action at a level 10? You know, is there a difference between having a goal of eating healthy and saying, and your action is, I'm going to eat healthier? But if you were to supersize that action, it was sign up for a meal delivery service so the food arrives at my house and it's literally in my fridge and it guarantees my result. Eat healthier is like maybe you do it. But if you were to supersize that action, you take an action that locks in your result. Tony says this quote, and please type this up if you're my fast typers, because I'd like people to put this in the chat box. Never leave the scene of a decision when you're in a peak state without scheduling in a commitment that guarantees your result. Never leave the scene of a decision when you're in a peak state. Who here is in a peak state today? You're feeling some type of way. You got some good juju rolling through your body. You're enjoying this, hopefully a little bit. Thank you, Steve Goldsmith. Then you don't want to leave without scheduling in a commitment. Did you hear that? That guarantees the result. That's like buying the Peloton, making the phone call, sending the email, enrolling in the course. It's an action that guarantees your next step. If you're with me, double fist bump. So we just want to encourage you when you're looking at actions, how can you take an action that guarantees the result, not kind of makes the result possible? Now we're going to move on to the next step. In order for you to reach these results, there are specific and measurable actions that you must take. But in order for you to take these actions, how much of your potential must you tap into? Like a little bit of it? Some of it? A level 4 of it? How much? 100%. You want to move that 4 to a 10, okay? You want your potential to be at a 10. Let me ask you this question. What's the potential of a human being? What's the potential of a human being? Limitless, unlimited. Who's the only person that can steal your potential? Unleash Her Power Within, this community that you're with right now that put on this program for you today, has served thousands of women from like over 100 different countries. And we find that the biggest stealer of their results is they literally cut off their own potential. They steal their own potential. No one else is going to steal your potential. No one's going to break into your house tonight and be like, yo, where do you keep the potential? I'm going to jack it. Right? But we do that to ourselves. That's the crazy part. We steal our own potential almost every single day before we even get the opportunity to go for it. We talk ourselves out of it. We think ourselves out of it. We feel ourselves out of it because of a set of what? That aren't even really who you are. That's a part of who you were in the past. Not who you are today. Sit like the version of who you are today, please. Shoulders back, head up. Put a smile on your face. You're different now. So we want you to tap into all of this potential. So the question you can ask yourself is, what would this look like if I gave all of myself? What would this look like if I did this at a level 10 opposed to a 4? And in order for you to tap into all of your potential, to tap into all of to take all the action, to reach all of these results, what type of belief needs to be your automatic response system about you, about your life, about what's possible? Limiting or empowering? Which one? Which one? Your belief, BC, stands for beliefs and certainty. Beliefs and certainty. Now, Tony likes to train this into human beings. I mean, his events are literally 54 hours long, all day long, because you're wiring this into your body. If I showed up today as the representative, if you will, of Tony for the teaching today, and I walked up and I was like, hey, everybody, you're totally going to change your life today at the Life Design Masterclass, and it's going to be like so much fun, and my name's Carissa, and you should totally have some energy for today's class. Does it seem like I have much certainty? No, my brain isn't even going to believe it. So one of the ways that you can shift your level of certainty is to start with your physical body. A lot of you saw this. Make a move, get some energy in your body, pound on your chest, do a little dance, shake that butte, whatever you got to do. But you've got to introduce the energy in your physical body to increase the level of certainty, to get really, really clear on your beliefs about who you are. That you can do it, that you will do it, that you must do it, that there's no better time than now, that there's no one better than you, that you deserve it, that you're worthy of it. Those have to be in you. Because once you're certain, if you're not certain and you're like, you wouldn't want to buy anything from me, would ya? If I go up there with that level of certainty, then how much of my potential will I tap into? Let's do an example with Griselda. Griselda comes to the Life Design Masterclass. She wants to grow in her business, but she has a low level of certainty, and so she taps into how much of her potential? Level what? Level what? Griselda taps into a level, 4 or less, of her potential. Let's say she taps into the 4, like the collective of our group. She taps into a 4 level of potential. Do you think she's going to take extra small or extra large actions? Extra small. She takes a series of extra small actions. Do you think that she's getting results? Oh, heck no. She's not getting results. And then her new belief about herself is that I tried and I failed. It doesn't work for me. It'll never work for me. Life sucks. I suck, right? And she develops new beliefs based on results, based on low actions, based on low potential that stem from her crappy beliefs to start with. And then this entire process is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you see this, put a hand up in the air, double fist bump, and say yes. Now, we don't want to feed this narrative, so we want to take control, you and I, by focusing on these BC, these beliefs, this certainty, to drive this whole experience so that you have not pizza skis, but you have what? You have momentum. And the way that you do this is you train it into your body. So shake the body out, shake the body out. Now you know that your results completely start with beliefs on their own. And I know that this is not, you don't have all these things. You probably have 1 or 2 of those things. But I want to ask you a question. What if those things cost you? What has being a 4, being a Griselda, what does that cost you in your life? Just breathe in, breathe out, and throw it in the chat. Carolyn says a lot, but I want to know specifically. Time, energy, money, peace of mind, joy, happiness, bad relationships. What relationship? What job? What opportunity? Not giving my all, my husband's health, my self-esteem, my physical body, my self-worth, bad confidence. So are you willing? Are you willing to keep those? Are you willing to keep that? Or do you want to make a decision to cut off from it? Does the past have to equal the future? If I took this marker and threw it outside into the parking lot and left it there for 5 years, and I came back 5 years later and I was looking for the marker and I picked it up, is that going to be the same marker, a better marker, or a worse marker? Real fast, you tell me which one. Same, better, or worse? It's going to be worse because nothing in life stays the same. It's like nature or a plant. You and I are either growing or dying. And if all of us, what if we leave here today and we don't change anything? What's going to happen to you and I? What's going to happen to you and I? Some people say we stay the same, complacent, but we know it doesn't happen. We know it gets worse. So that means that we need to create this moment, this experience, this now, this present as the catalyst for you to get rid of the old, because that's in the past, and walk away with who you really, really are. If you are with me, make some freaking noise and put your shoulders back and your head up. Ibu Kir Top Demir. Hopefully I said that right, my friend. You got some good energy. Shake the body out. Shake the body out. So we want you to pull this into a vision. At this point in the class, it should be so unbelievably obvious that there are 2 versions of you. A version of you that you've just practiced being, and it's not who you are, because you are not your what. And you should start to feel this rumbling in that belly, this sizzle in your heart that's like, holy crap, I cannot wait to experience who I really am. And it's okay if you're not there yet, because you can hold what? Shout it out. You can be where you are while you're creating something new. You've just got to be ruthlessly committed to making it happen. Are you ruthlessly committed? Like 100%, like all in, like you've never felt before. Is this the moment? Are you going to look back and say on whatever day it is, May 19th, this is the day, holy crap, I went to this 3-hour thing and I made it happen because you applied the teachings to your life. So we need you to leave today with a vision. Without a vision, people perish. If you want to get where you want to go and you want to be pulled to it like a magnet, like a zing, like it shoots you forward, like a lightning bolt, like an electric shock, you've got to have something that you can taste. You've got to have something that you can see. It's like a dog. My dog, her name is Harlow. She is literally the reason my heart beats. I love her so much. Her sense of smell for tennis balls is so insane that we got one stuck in a tree in a rental house that I had in Arizona 6 months ago. And I came back 6 months later to the same rental house, and that tennis ball was stuck in the tree. And guess what Harlow smelled? The tennis ball. But because she smelled it, because she could taste it, because it was in her vicinity, she went on a hunt. You can go on a hunt for the version of you that you're becoming, but you've got to smell it and you've got to taste it. So we're going to do a quick vision exercise to put a cherry on top of this day. And this is our final piece. The final third thing we promised you would learn today is something that we call your identity map. Your identity map answers a question that I believe majority of people fail to answer. And it is, if I want this life, if I want to become this version of myself, if I want this experience of reality, if I want to feel this way, if I want this level of love, if I want to finally look in the mirror and be like, I can trust you to fulfill what you say you're going to do. You've got to ask yourself, who must I become to make this real? And for a small blip of time, you're going to remove these pieces from you and look at them objectively as old self and, come on, new self. Who you've been, who you're becoming, who you've practiced being for a while, who you really are. Another way to say new self is true self, who you really are at your core, who you really are in your heart. And we want you to answer this question today and have fun with it. So I want you to take a big deep breath in, big deep breath out. And I think at this point, there's over 75,000 of you now that have signed up for this experience today. And I don't know a lot of you, but I have somewhat of your trust so far today? Yes? You might think I'm literally a crazy loony bin. You might think, who the heck is this nutso girl? But hopefully I have some of your trust. I want you to go on a little rampage, and I want you to feel like you can walk around if you need to. We're about to answer a question, and if you have your workbook, you can turn to page 5, and it's the bottom section of this page, and it asks a question. It says, explain in as much detail as possible what type of person would achieve the results you outlined in the momentum model. What are their qualities? What level of potential do they tap into? And what does their world look like? And here's what, I'm going to throw it up so you can just see it for a second. Let's pop this up so they can see that and just put it split screen so you can see both of us. This question, let's read it together. What type of person would achieve the results you outlined in the momentum model? What are their qualities? What level of potential do they tap into? What does their world look like? Take it down. Let me explain what you're going to do. Number one, the most important ingredient to making this question work for you is having what? Energy, for God's sakes. If you've got some LAE floating around right now, you better jump out of that. Shoulders back, head up, like pound your chest if you need to. Do some jumping jacks. But this question's going to be important. You can either write if you're into that thing, or I would invite some of you to stand up and go on a little rant. You could walk around and use your physical body. Some of you haven't moved your physical body if you're physically capable of standing. If not, you can completely do this from your chair, and I want you to huff and puff and use your breath. But I want you to start to shake your arms out, okay, and start to walk around. And if you have to do this seated, you just start moving and huffing and puffing and moving. But I want you to start to think of, like, who is going to create this life? And then I want you to go on a rant. And one time I did this, and Tony guided me through the process, and I was just like, what do I want? And I was like, I live in the sexiest body that I've ever lived in. When I wake up, my soul is so excited to experience the day because I know that I'm guided. I know that I'm doing work that I'm on fire about. I know that I eat foods that bless my body, and I'm so freaking fired up to learn about nutrition and how the food seeps into my soul. And I know that when I work in my career, I'm touching people, I'm connecting with people, I'm serving them for what they want, not what I want. In my finances, holy moly, I know how to create the most electric financial situation. I know how to touch something and have it turn to gold. I am one of the most brilliant financial minds of my generation. And oh my goodness, and this is what I walk like, and this is what I talk like. And that version of me that achieves that thing, she says this, and she does this, and she wakes up early in the morning before the sun, and she eats like this, and she does this with her family, and this is how she sits at dinner. She's not on her phone, she's like this. Are you following me? When you release your addiction to sheltering yourself, and well, that's going to be weird if I'm on here with these strangers and I get up and go on this crazy rant. I'm just going to kind of watch the first time and do it the next time. No one cares. And if you're doing that here, do you think of what other people are thinking about you in other areas of your life as well? Yes or yes? So let it freaking rip. And I want you to answer this question and have fun with it. And if you're going to go on a rant, or if you're going to sit in that seat and huff and puff and you think about it, and you might say weird things like cinnamon roll muffin banana. And you just roll with it because you're just trying to get the words out and they feel stuck. And you might say, well, I have nothing to say. Well, then you just say, I have nothing to say right now until you say something. And if it's coming out of your hand like crazy, once we're done, you're going to come back and then you're going to write everything that you learned about that version of yourself. But you got to tap into your intuition. I've got one question for you. Are you freaking ready? I mean, it's just your life, for goodness sakes. Are you ready? Okay. Let's pull this question up. We're going to give you 3.5, maybe 4 minutes on the clock because I want you to feel like you got to go a bit quicker. But I'll watch you. If you need more time, then I'll give you more time. So don't stress about it. Big, deep breath in. Put your freaking shoulders back. Get some energy in your body and coach yourself. Let it rip, my friends. Go on a rant. Enjoy it. And I'll see you back in a couple minutes. All right, my friends, shake that body out. Come on back with some energy and give yourselves a round of applause. You know what I loved is that so many of you surprised yourselves with that. I watched you doing this and just kind of like checking in, but then you're like, dang, I really did that. And it's really exciting to see when you follow this path, what can open up for you and what can evolve for you. And this is just one day, like that's it, just one micro moment and you feel like this. Imagine if you just sink deep. So now that you've got kind of an idea of the type of person that would make this a reality, we're going to have you create a quick 2022 mini vision, okay? And we've got Jenna Kutcher coming up next. And if you love and know Jenna Kutcher, put it in the chat box. But if not, she's an absolute fortress. So she's up here in just a couple minutes. But our last exercise with me that I want to walk you through is your 2022 mini vision, okay? So flip to that page in your workbook, or you can just follow along with me right here. In the top box, in the top circle, excuse me, at the top of this page, I want you to pick a name, and don't stress about this. Just pick something just that comes out of your heart, okay? Pick a nickname to explain the version of you that you've created today. And that's going to start to build out this version of you that you've been, whether that's like Griselda and the version of you that you're becoming. Potentially that's, Sasha Fierce or Beyonce or whatever nickname you give to it. And I want you to anchor yourself for this exercise by writing the name down in the middle. So put the name in the chat if you've got it. We've got Tiger, Marvelous Mandy, we've got Glam, we've got Queen Bee, we've got Yippee Jenna, Tallulah, Sapphire, Nike, New Me, Miss Legit, The Boss, Badass, Ravishing Rose, Rosie, Vibrant. You guys get the picture. Take a moment right now and with your pen, or if you're typing, or on your notebook, jot down that name in the pink circle. There's an empty line and put it there. You want that at the top. Why? Because this represents this part of you. And eventually that part will just become who you are. But for the sake of this exercise, we want to kind of see it separate. And then we're going to give you just a couple minutes again. We want you to really get this quick and just write from your heart. We want you to have 2 actionable steps walking out of today. And this is where you start to create your identity map. Now that you know kind of a bit about who this part of you is, you want to apply it to next steps. The first question you're going to answer is, what are your top 2 professional and top 2 personal outcomes for the next 6 months? When you did the momentum model, you wrote a ton of goals down. Really identify what 2 personal and what 2 professional would move the needle tremendously. And jot those down, and then I want you to attach like a date. So like by when do you want to achieve those goals? By when do you want to achieve those goals? So just 2. You're just going to pick 2 professional, 2 personal. Super easy. Then the second thing you're going to do is say, what is a big action? And we would say XL. And what's a small action that you could take that would move you measurably closer to those goals or outcomes? And by when will you complete those? So remember, a big action could be like making that phone call you've been waiting to make, signing up for the course, enrolling in something. I just did this the other day. I enrolled into this program, right? It's a big action that I took that I knew would guarantee my result. If you want to make this shift from who you've been to where you're going, what's an action that you could take that would guarantee the result? If this makes sense, double fist bump. Okay? Shake the body out. Shoulders back. Coach yourself here. You're almost to the finish line. Give everything you have to this question. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Begin. All right, friends, 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Shoulders back, head up. Enjoy the process. All right, welcome back. If you're feeling good, make some noise. Show me with your body how you're feeling. You've been absolutely spectacular, and we've come to a very important question. You've walked through, number one, the outcomes you want to create. You've walked through the momentum model. You've gotten the foundation of really how to switch these patterns and what happens when you get inside of the what. Throw it in the chat box, the dance, and you find yourself on the decision line, and you know that you have to figure out who you are to make better decisions. Just put a hand up if you've gotten the formula, if you've got the basics, if you've got a sense for this. That's all you need, is just a sense. And I've got to address the feeling that a lot of you are going to have now. You've got the 2 actions you could take, you've got the 2 goals, you've got the 2 professional goals, personal, and this moment right now, there's a question that is in probably 60% of your minds. And it's, well, can I really do this? Right? Can I really do this? Is this like really real for me? This is cool. For other people, they probably do these courses and it really works, but like, can I do this? Carolina Jab says, I have to do this. I must do this. It's beautiful. The question that a lot of you are asking is, how do you create lasting change? Not have an experience for one moment and, for 3 hours and then go back to the way it was, shift back to the old self, but how do you really create lasting change? And, this is a question that I've asked myself a ton. And there is a path, there is a formula, and I learned it from a man named Tony Robbins, and there's pretty much 3 steps to this change, 3 keys to this change. And in your workbook, you can find this just on the next page, but I want to walk you through. This is where you're at right now. You sit on, May 19th, whatever, and you've got 2 parts of you. On the bottom left-hand corner, that's the person you've practiced being for a very long time, and in the top right, there's a part of you that you desire to become. And maybe you're close to that, or maybe there's a gap. I don't know. You tell me in the chat box. But both are available to you. Both are literally right here for you to experience, for you to have if you want it. But the truth is that at some point in our life, we've all had things, let's throw this back up, like willpower, potential, gusto, knowledge, community, desire, hope, resources, vision. You've been motivated. Who's ever felt any of those things before? By show of hands. And those are probably the similar feelings that you're feeling today, yes or yes? Yes or yes. You feel some type of motivation, some type of energy. And so how do we get from where we've been to where we are if you've already had this feeling before and we potentially haven't made the shift? There's 3 forces to transformation. And it's a formula that I want all of you to know. And jot this down, you'll be able to implement it in your own life. But the first thing that you need, especially leaving here today, is you need immersion training. You need a way for you to immerse yourself into a training so that it's not just a touch point. It's not just you flirting for 3 hours with something. You are sinking yourselves into it. It's the difference between studying a foreign language for 30 minutes once a week in high school and not speaking a lick of the language now versus living in Spain. Do you think there's a difference of the retention of the knowledge, yes or yes? That's what immersion is. My first experience with immersion was just in 2018. That's it, just a couple years ago. And I attended one of Tony's events. There's a gajillion events you could do, but you want to immerse yourself for multiple days at a time. Whether that is going somewhere, getting out of your home state, going to a course, going to a program for multiple days and sinking into the knowledge. That's so important you do that a couple times a year. The second thing that you want to do is have an experiential practice. What I find for people, and just being one of the red flags to think about, is that they get really excited in these moments and then they go back home to people that haven't had the experience or the shift along with them. And they find it hard to practice the amazing things they're learning with their family and their friends that they've known forever because there's a disconnect. You need, simply put, a community, a place to practice these feelings, practice these emotions, practice these learnings so that you can grow and strengthen your own skills. If that makes sense, double fist bump. And there's a third piece that you need. And the third piece is conditioning and programming. You've got to condition this into your mind and body so it's real. It's one thing to just write up your dream part of you on paper, but we all know that you can write in your journal as much as you want. That's not going to seep into your soul. You need to wire it and condition it. And the reason I'm passionate about this is I remember going to my first Tony event. This is kind of where this all stemmed from. And it was the third day of it. And he does this process, and it literally goes all day. It's like the full freaking day, like 10 hours. And he is rewiring, helping you figure out what are your most limiting beliefs and then demolishing them. And through this process, literally rewiring them from your nervous system so you never feel or experience those emotions again. You want to condition and program this new part of you, not the part of you in the past, but this new part of you into your body so it's a part of you, so it's like a muscle. And that's where the combination of like a Tony Robbins training or a UHPW training, that blend of those things together can help you really program this into your mind. So you want to keep those three things in mind, okay? And there's a couple steps to lasting change, and I want you to just see these. Actually, I'm going to skip over this really quick, so pop this off. I want to share with you guys how we do this in Unleash Your Power Within. So everything you experience today, by the way, did you enjoy this? Did you love this? Did you experience this in its fullest extent? What you experienced is a taste of what we call Unleash Your Power Within, okay? This is the community and the program that you are kind of enjoying right now, but a very small sliver of it. We have the program starting again in 12 days, and I want to walk you guys through what we do inside of the program. So if you want to go deep and really make this real for you and really have the pathway to have the shift from where you've been to where you want to go, then you have a formula to do that. And we only do the Life Design Masterclass literally 2 times a year, so this is the only way I can really walk you through the entire program. So take a pen and write all of this down. I'm going to explain to you every single thing that we do in the program. I see we have some graduates here, which is amazing. But this is what the whole thing looks like. If you want to go deeper, we have Jenna coming up, so I want to share with you this. If you want to go deeper, this is the path. It's called Unleash Your Power Within, and what you experience today is kind of a piece of what we do across 8 weeks inside that program. So I want to break down the program for you because what you did today is literally a chunk of the program. The 8-week process happens over 4 different phases. How many phases? Put it at me. How many phases? 4 different phases. Phase number 1 is weeks 1 through 3 of the program, which is the awakening phase of the program. And you could read the fine print if you want to, but the gist is majority of people are sleepwalking through life. Days turning into weeks, turning into months, and your future staying stuck in the future because you're running a set of what? Running a set of what? Shout it out. Patterns that are keeping you stuck where you were. In order to break free of those patterns, you have to wake up. You have to become aware of what the patterns are. Like some of you are unconscious of what thumb you're putting on top compared to the other thumb. You've got to be aware of what the situation is, of what the patterns you are running so that you can break them and move to the next level. So in the first phase, week 1 through 3, we not only help you become aware of what the patterns are that you don't want, but we also help you build that vision of what you do want. So it's something like you can taste. Remember the example I gave you about Harlow and the tennis ball? You have to taste what's next for you so you can actually go and reach it. The second phase of the program, and this is really great knowledge just for you in your own journey of awakening, is the creation phase. Now that you've got the awareness done, the awakening done, now you get to reinvent or create this part of you that you want to be. What we call the new what? What we call the new what? The new self, the version of you that you are becoming. You get to deliberately create this version of you, not let life happen to you, but you happen to life. And you ask yourself, if this is the life that I want, who do I want to be? The creation phase is about giving you a formula, a blueprint that you can follow, not because KK created it. I know a guy that's pretty dang awesome. His name is Tony Robbins, and he created the formula. We're going to help you pull yours out, and then you're going to condition it and practice it so you can become it. The third phase of the program is the next couple weeks. It's called the transformation phase. And I chose green for this because green means go, and this is the peak of the entire 8-week experience because in this session, you attend an event with Mr. Tony Robbins. It's called Unleash the Power Within. All of us together as a community in Unleash Your Power Within. It's an 8-week program. There's a couple thousand of us. We all attend this event with Tony together. 4 days, full immersion, and this is the event that I shared with you that rewires you head to toe. This is what it looks like. You are live with Tony, and it's a silver ticket included in this package. So you build your identity the entire 8 weeks, and then you create the identity at UPW. Someone said, is it similar to UPW? They're like cheese and wine. They're both great on their own, but together it's like this explosion of an experience. We all attend UPW together, and the identity that you built weeks 1 through 6, you create it at UPW, and then Tony wires it into your body. If you're with me so far, double fist bump. Literally after that, life will never be the same again. But I promised you guys today I would share with you the 4th key. The 4th key that's so important is where so many people miss it. You do that program, you get excited, and then you lose your momentum. Remember pizza skis? You've got to keep your momentum. The 4th key here is momentum. We don't want you to stall. We don't want you to drop off. We create a pathway for you to have this experience and integrate it into your life, okay? We've created a opportunity or a package just for those of you at the Life Design Masterclass, only for you today, and it comes with the entire program plus a couple bonuses, so I want to walk you through that. The program includes the entire training, all 8 weeks. I'll be the facilitator to guide you guys through this. It also includes a fast-track orientation session with me. The next round of the program, you guys, is beginning at the end of the month in 12 days. So you'll have an orientation session with me. You'll get access to our private community. I heard someone say, I can't believe I never knew about this. It's like UPW for women. Exactly. But you're going to meet other women from around the world and build a community. You're also going to have 50 meals donated to Feeding America on your behalf. So I'm going to walk you guys through the entire program. Make some noise if you want to know and excited to know, and write some notes on what the heck this is. And it's going to be a great experience for you to really get a good understanding of how this transformation can be real for you. So the first thing that you guys get at the Life Design Masterclass, it's the whole program, but I want you to know everything included, and I also want you to really understand the pieces and the values of each. The first piece, and you can ask, we have a lot of alumni in the house, so just add other people. Becca said, does this include UPW? Yes. Everything's included. I'm going to show you the full package here today, and then we're going to give you guys a special little Life Design discount, really only for you guys here at the class today. So the first element of this is the 8 live trainings with me. Now, if you were to get that on its own, it's about $1,095. There's some of you that I've been very blessed to meet so far. Some of you, today is my first day knowing you. But the thing to know is that the teachings are the teacher. I'm going to be there guiding you, but we're guiding you through a program that's been built over the last 45 years. So I'll meet with you over the course of 8 weeks, 1 time a week. Now, I will record them live, but we have a global audience, so you don't have to be live. You can watch them whenever you want. We've got something called live plays. So there's 2 opportunities a week to watch it with our community, with our family live, or you can watch it on your own. You get all of the replays and all of the accesses and all of the recordings, okay? The second element of this is you get a silver ticket to Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins. The next one's coming up July 14th through the 17th. So just to paint a picture, as a community, we're all going to walk through the 8 weeks of training. I actually have the workbook here. Any of you that join are going to get this fancy box shipped right to your house. Look how gorgeous it is. You're going to open it up, and you're going to have this workbook here. It's thick because we got a lot of work to do. In this part of the workbook back here, you're going to attend UPW. So we're going to do the entire training process together. Then as a community, we're going to go to Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins live, and you're going to have a silver ticket to that. If you were to get that on its own, the value of that ticket is $1,295. The value of that tier, that price point ticket. The third thing that's included is over 100-page workbook, limited edition workbook of UHPW, but you also get all of your program materials for the Tony Robbins event included inside of your welcome box. So you've got a huge welcome box with a ton of good, groovy stuff. Next, you are getting access to the private UHPW community. This is where you're going to meet other people. It's a global audience from around the world. Last time we had over 75 different countries represented in this program. So I don't care what you look like, what accents you have, where you come from, what your background is, what your business is. This is a human program for humans, not a business course. This is for you and your journey from who you've practiced being to who you really are. And then the final piece that is included inside of this package is 50 meals donated to Feeding America. Now, if you were to go and just sign up regular for Unleash Your Power Within, we only run the program a couple times a year. I saw someone say we didn't even know about it. That's because we have a wait list for 5 to 8 months, and we really just give it to the wait list. So if this is your first time hearing about it, that is why. But if you were to buy it on its own, this is $1,095. Now, today, we're going to have you guys experience or receive a couple bonuses for being at the Life Design Masterclass. We not only want to honor you for giving your most precious asset, which is your time, but we want to beef up and juice up this experience for you. So those of you that want to join today and be a part of the next program, you're going to get 3 additional bonuses. You're going to get, number one, $300 off the UHPW program today. That's going to be our gift to you. So that takes the price from $10.95 to what? You tell me. $795. The second bonus that you're going to get today for being at this masterclass, only for being here, is a program called the Ultimate Relationship Program. You're going to get it. You'll be able to download it literally immediately the moment that you sign up. But if you want to have a world lit on fire relationship, this is an audio program you've got to get your hands on. It's a go at your own pace program that Tony created. It's going to help you create a stronger relationship and really help you create momentum before the program even begins. The third gift that we want to give just for those of you at this event today is access to a private invite-only health summit that Tony Robbins is hosting on May 26th. That's coming up next week. You couldn't even Google search it and find it if you wanted to, but I believe that the greatest way to get a catalyst of growth in your life is to start with your health. At this event, all of us will come together. You'll get access to it. It's private. It's about the most intense breakthroughs in precision medicine possible. So if health was on your list for a reset, we're all going to be going to that together. Now, you'll be able to choose a payment plan that works for you. And so we have 2 different options for you. You can pay in full for $795. That's including your discount plus all the bonuses. But we've gotten so much feedback from our amazing community just about making sure that all of you had access. A lot of people have asked me over the last 3 to 4 years of us running this program, can we have a payment plan? And listen, I want this to be a resounding yes for every one of you, no matter where you are at in your life. So I am so happy and so honored to share that if a payment plan works better for you, you pick what serves you best. You can do a payment plan of 3 different installments. So both of those options are fully on the table for you guys. And all of this together, if you want to look top to bottom, you've got the 8 trainings, you got the UPW ticket, you got the workbook, the event box, the community, the 50 meals, plus the bonuses. You guys are at $1095 dropping to $795. The final thing that I'll share, and then we're going to take just a quick break and Jenna will be back, is that I want this to be something that you can give your full body yes to. A reason a lot of people can't is because they're nervous that they can't make the shift from who they've been to where they want to go. They're nervous that they can't deliver on the outcome. So I want you to know that 100% I've got your back. If you get to the 3rd week of this program and you don't feel like it is the absolute best program you've ever experienced in your life, you just let our team know and we'll give you a 100% refund. That means that literally you have no risk. You just have to count and bet on yourself, because I sure as heck believe in you guys and I want you to believe in you. So that is Unleash Her Power Within. I hope you guys have experienced Jenny says I'm all in. I hope you've experienced a taste of it today, and I'm so excited that you've had this opportunity to not only experience it and see it, but you also have an invitation to enroll yourself. We get started in 12 days. The program lasts 8 weeks. We're going to go on one heck of a journey together. So if you want to make that shift real for you from where you've been to where you want to go, you've got to do this. Trust me. Get yourself in. You can go to uhpw.com and you can read all of the information there and get yourself enrolled. And I'm so excited to see and support you guys. So let me know in the chat box if you're all in. Cynthia's in, Maria's in, Andrea's in, Simone's in. Yay! Awesome, you guys. uhpw.com is the link. You can head there, and everything I said, you can read it again. So don't miss it. Go fast, grab your spot, and you'll be able to see when spots fill up. So grab that first one. Other than that, you guys, we're going to be back in just 10 minutes. Jenna Kutcher is going to be joining us. If you've never met Jenna, she is one of the most incredible mamas, businesswoman. She started her business with a $300 camera off Craigslist and has been the designer of her life. This is why we brought her in for a fireside Q&A chat. She's going to be sharing with us how she made this possible for her in her own life. It's going to be super juicy, so don't miss it. I'll see you back here in 10 minutes. UHPW.com, get yourself enrolled, and when you get back, we'll celebrate all of you that are going on this journey together with us. Love you guys, enjoy, and I'll see you in 10 minutes.
UHPW was a lifeline for me.
I really felt lost, and I didn't know it.
I've always struggled with female relationships.
I grew up in my life not having a lot of friends.
Before I was existing but not really living.
You have decided to be the creator of your one extraordinary life. And when we start saying yes to life, really beautiful things unfold. How are you feeling?
UHPW is the launch pad to the most magical, successful, impactful UPW experience that a woman could ever dream of. UHPW is life-changing.
It is just life-changing.
Life will never be the same. I had the biggest breakthrough I've ever had in my life.
Something just clicked. Our relationship has changed tenfold.
I love this community so much because it's my soulmates. I'm just having a breakthrough.
I kind of always describe UHPW as like the program that made me.
And I really, truly found myself. I know what I want to do in my life now.
I was finally able to find peace.
I had this limiting belief about my new identity. She was really difficult to become, right? Then I became her. Coming together and blasting through limiting beliefs, blasting through what do people think, and having a community of love and support, it's incredibly powerful.
And I definitely think her and I will be lifelong friends.
And this community really is a home for me.
It's like a sisterhood.
Sisterhood. UHPW supported me with breaking down the material in a way that was easy to digest, where I could, week after week, work on it with a group of women where I felt safe in that environment.
You are completely missing out if you do not go on this journey.
It's week 8 and we've done it! Woo! I just had to share this with y'all because I'm freaking out. I'm so excited.
This community has really helped me, like the identity training.
I have been in therapy for 20 years. And what I have untapped in the last 8 weeks is record-breaking.
UHPW is forever. I will never go back.
mid-year reset team. If you're feeling good, make some noise. Shake the body out. Come on back. Come on back. Whoa, yes. All right, my friends, welcome back. I am just absolutely loving every single person in this community. I had a chance to go in and peek inside the Facebook group. And if you haven't joined that yet, make sure you go to your confirmation email and get in there so you can be a part of this amazing community. But to see the amount of phenomenal women and just human beings around the world playing full out and really being the leaders in their own lives, the CEOs of their lives, grabbing the paintbrush and designing what they want their life to look like, it's just been something so unbelievably magical. So if you haven't done that, do that. But I want to say from my heart to yours how amazing it's been to be on this journey with you guys. The video that played right before the break, if you got a chance to see it, put it inside of the chat box. Let me know that you saw it. That is gotta be my favorite video. I was watching it and my entire heart was exploding the first time I ever saw it. And what I love about it is that it is such an amazing representation of this community. It's people from all over the world, all across the globe. We look different, talk different, vote different. We're just different backgrounds, businesses, upbringings, but we're all collectively here for one purpose, and that is to transform and to grow. And I thought that that video just showed the pure testimony from women everywhere that have experienced this shift in their own life. And I'm not even just talking about the program. I'm talking about your shift, your life, your vision, what you want to create. So as we get started with the second stretch of the day, you guys are kind of on the home stretch of the Life Design Masterclass. I did see so many questions that came through in the chat box, and I saw our amazing crew members asking questions live if you're in the Zoom room. Can we give it up for our team, by the way, that's been just so helpful? They have seriously been incredible and so lovely. And yes, yay. Quite a few questions came in. I wanted to address maybe like the top 3 that came in. I know I went so fast through that, so some of you were just like whiplash, hold up, there's a UPW for women, what's happening, when did this happen? And then some of you, it's your first time in this world, so I kind of shared it quickly. I just want to go through some of the biggest questions. One person said, you know, how does the program work and when does it start and like what are the dates and times and all of that? So logistically, the program happens over the course of 8 weeks. We spend 8 weeks together, but it's really designed for you to have the experience as you want to have it. The first thing that we'll do coming up next Tuesday is kind of a welcome celebration or orientation. And I'll walk you through literally every single section of the program A to Z to make sure that you are set up. The actual trainings, there's other courses out there that pre-film them and just give you the whole chunk and say, hey, you're on your own, you can watch them whenever you want. We like to do something a bit more innovative in UHPW. We actually film them live every single program. So I film them on Tuesday evenings at 4 o'clock Pacific and 7 p.m. Eastern time. 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So jot that date and time down. It's every single Tuesday. If you want to be on live, you would attend 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesdays. Majority of our community will come and join that time. However, we have a global audience. We also do something called live plays on Fridays, okay? The moment I'm done recording, we'll upload all the trainings into a module, into a back hub, so you have them, you can watch them whenever you want. If you do want to watch them with a community, you can tune in on Fridays, the whole community gets on, and we press play on the training as if you're doing an online course, but just with a ton of people at the same time. So we have 3 different ways you could watch the training. We designed this program for the people that literally never complete a program. And if you've ever been there, put a hand up. You're like all jacked up about it for the first 2 weeks, and maybe you fall off. I have been there before. Trust me, that is why we designed this for you guys. You're going to receive all of your program materials, your entire event box, workbook box in the next week and a half before the program begins, and you'll be all set up. Another question I saw is this program only for women? Can we give it up for any single person that identifies other than a woman that is tuning in today to this masterclass? I did see a couple amazing gentlemen tuning in to the Life Design Masterclass, and I want to celebrate you guys and honor you. UHPW welcomes literally any human soul. If you've got a heartbeat, you're welcome here. I did see someone make a live post in the Facebook just sharing that they have a deep feminine side. He's like, I know I'm a man, but I have a feminine side, and I feel like I belong here. And I was like, come on in, you belong here. So the answer to that question is absolutely yes. Majority of the women with spouses or partners actually will kind of watch from the side, and a lot of them that are with a male partner, their husbands, are literally on the side of the screen during training. They love it so much that they're like peeking in and kind of watching. And they're secretly doing all 8 weeks with the people that run the program. It's super special and fun. Okay, another question that I got is, if I participate outside of the U.S., can I join? What if I can't make the live calls? I just want to reiterate for you guys that we do film the trainings live, and you're welcome to join then, but you have literally 3 different ways that you could watch this, and you can go at your own pace. But our team is going to be there to support you and make sure that you actually get to go through and experience this full program. If you're someone that's attended a UPW in the past and you're wondering what the differences are, these are different experiences. We've created the package together so that you have a more deep immersion, okay? A full throttle experience. I like to talk about it like cheese and wine. They're amazing individually on their own, but when you pair them together, they're absolutely mind-blowing. Okay? Those were just a couple questions that I wanted to answer before we get into the next segment of the day. And you guys, my excitement level for the next portion of this is really, really off the charts. I have to give you background. So I'm currently in a studio that is in Arizona, and I flew in for this, and we are borrowing the studio of a dear friend of Tony Robbins, and his name is Dean Graziosi. Anybody here know Dean Graziosi? He is a multiple New York Times bestselling author. I've built like 16 companies or something, built or been a part of. And he is an incredible businessman, an incredible marketer, but he's actually been a personal mentor in my own life. And I said, hey, can I use your studio? I'm running this event. And we were able to be in here. We've been in here running the program for the last couple of years. Normally, he's not in, but right when we finished this last break, I actually saw him. And I was like, hey, would you come on and chat with our community? And because you guys, he is a mentor in my life, but he is one of the catalysts for me to have this identity transition. He's somebody that speaks about it better than I've heard anyone else speak about it. So we have a surprise guest, but he can only come out here if we have a crazy level of energy. Would you please help me welcome to the stage, Dean Graziosi! Thank you.
Hey, everybody. What's going on? Hey, Val. Hey, Tracy. What's up, Anna?
Dean,
everybody?
There are 75,000 women, some gents here, from over about 100 different countries tuning in. How do you feel stepping into this magic?
Amazing. Only because I've been cheating. I've been watching you guys and watching your energy and watching your comments. Can we get it up for KK? Is she doing an incredible job?
Oh, thank you.
You know, I know Jenna Kutcher is supposed to be here in a little bit. She's juggling about 5 things, and I know because I was watching in the back of her saying she's coming. She's so amazing. But I just want to share a little bit about this woman right here. We have had the opportunity, my wife and I have gotten to know KK so well, and working with our company and working with a partnership and watching her dedication to you guys. You know, some of you are new. Raise your hand if you're new to meeting KK and just decided to show up and see what this is all about. I want to tell you, this is a girl who has obsessed on this department of Tony's company, obsessed on saying women need a deeper voice, a different voice. We need to be connected. We need to learn these capabilities through a different lens. And she has worked her tail off. You might see her today for 2 hours. I've watched her for 2 years obsess on creating this department and fine-tuning what this 8-week training is and what it is before UPW and how to anchor it in after UPW. My wife and I, my wife's in the other room right there, my wife and I were in, you know, some is virtual, some is in person.
Yep.
We ran into you in Florida when she was getting ready, and I ran into the room where there was a whole bunch of you amazing women, and they were out of their mind because they finally found this connection. So I just want to say, yeah, I'm standing right here, but you've done an amazing job, and watch you work so hard, and how much every one of these designs, every color, every logo, every email, everything is done to serve, and this comes from the right place. So give it up for you, KK. Great job.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Dean.
All right, So
Okay.
I don't want to just be here to be here. I would love to be here to deliver
I
value.
have a strategic question.
Okay.
So, and I brought him in because, you guys, there's a question that I've always wanted to ask Dean, and I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Okay.
He doesn't know what it is, but I've heard him talk about this in a couple different ways. And we're all here today because you have some calling in your heart, some part of you, something deep down in your belly that says you can make a shift from where you've been to where you want to go. And that is an identity shift. When Jenna comes on in just a second, she's going to be chatting about an identity shift as well. But Dean, you have been around the block, so to speak, okay, for quite a few years. You've been through so much just in terms of business and in life. And one thing Dean always tells me is that, you know, wisdom, you can't rush wisdom. You only get wisdom from living your life. But I also think that you can borrow wisdom from people that have been there. So, Dean, in terms of an identity shift, what has been the biggest identity, because there are a lot of people, women and men in this audience, what's been the biggest identity shift for you, and how did you have the confidence to embrace it without like running back to who you were before?
All right, so I could tell you about business, being broke as a kid and coming from a family who didn't go to college and didn't have money, and I lived in a trailer park and had a broke mindset, and I shifted that identity, and that's a cool story. But for this audience, especially I get to look in the window there and see my wife.
Hi, Lisa.
I want to tell you identity shift in my personal life. You know, here's the thing. We don't realize that we create who we are, right? We sometimes feel we are a product of our environment, but then we become our identity. We have our own values. We have our own culture. We have our own beliefs. All of those things. We have our own story. You've missed opportunities in the past from the same story that you've told yourself for way too many years. The biggest person that shifted that in my life was Tony Robbins, and the opportunity you guys to have to work with KK. Oh my God, the story alone can stop you in your tracks. That's why you need to go deeper on this. You've already wasted too much time. You've already missed too many opportunities, right? You've already let a story stop you or hesitate you or make you play a little small, and then life kind of passes you by, right? But what I want to share about an identity shift that I didn't even realize I needed to shift was in my relationship. I've been through a divorce, and I'm not an advocate of divorce, but I was. And that's not fun for kids. It's not fun for any way, shape, or form. Divorce is not a great thing, right? But I want to tell you, I came from my parents were married 9 times between the two of them. That's not an exaggeration. My parents were good at getting married, I guess, and even better at getting divorced. So I grew up always watching new stepbrothers and stepsisters and stepmom and stepdad and different houses and stepgrandparents. And without realizing, I created an identity around relationships that they probably don't last. And I never realized that. And I went about my life and had relationships, and they'd work or they didn't, they'd work or they didn't. But the pain of, and sometimes, and I really want you to hear this, sometimes the pain of a situation is the wake-up call to be disturbed with inaction, to be disturbed to not changing your core beliefs, to be disturbed to not changing your identity, to be disturbed to not changing your values, to be disturbed to not look in the mirror and say, it's not everybody else, it's probably me, and I need to shift this. And I want to tell you, because my parents were married and divorced so much, going through a divorce, my ex and I knew that the relationship was over. We knew for years. But I was so paranoid because I knew what I felt when my parents divorced, and I was alone, and they didn't do a good job of being divorced. They didn't make the kids centered, and I put all that pain on that my kids would feel this way. So you guys get that. I won't get into that whole feeling. But when that relationship was over, I knew that I wanted real love. Who in here has real love or wants real, deep, connected love in their life, right? Like real love. So those that didn't raise their hand, you must never raise your hand, because I think we all want deep, connected love, right? But what I realized is my identity, if that's the word we're going to use here, Tony, actually, I feel blessed that we're dear friends, and he made me write on a piece of paper everything that was a must in a relationship and everything that was unacceptable anymore. And when I looked at this list, I could see this amazing human that I was going to look for, someone that had my values, someone that had my work ethic, someone that, all these things, and I wouldn't accept negativity and all these things. But I realized something, and maybe if the only reason I came out today was for this, is I realized I wouldn't be able to attract that amazing woman unless I looked in the mirror and became a better man. It had nothing to do with finding someone else that filled me up or was my better half. You don't get another half if your half is a little shitty. If I have bad habits, the things I did are probably the same reasons that I ended up in a divorce. The same reasons that I was following my parents. I had an identity that relationships really don't ask. And if you give all your heart, you might get hurt anyway. So I probably didn't go all in, and I got to be super dad. I was the best dad in the world, but I wasn't good in relationships, nor was I sure I wanted to be. And it was Tony, and it was going to UPW. And after I went to UPW, no exaggeration, and Tony and I had already been friends, and it cracked me open in a way I didn't imagine. And then I went to Date with Destiny. I went all in. It cracked me open on another level, and I just really did some soul searching. And sometimes we got to dig deeper than just a 3-hour message. We got to dig deeper than saying, yeah, I'll change that one thing. It's like a diet. Like, I'll stop eating bread, but I'll keep drinking soda. And no, we got to sometimes make some really powerful shifts if we're going to become the woman or the man God designed us to be, or the universe, whatever you believe. I believe we all have more potential. So long story short is I started writing down instead of looking for the perfect outside person to fill me, I started writing, what kind of man do I have to be to attract a badass woman? Someone who's self-sufficient, who's amazing, who's strong, who's beautiful, but still has old school ways, someone that might want more children, someone that would love. I wrote down things like someone that would love my older children as their own. Do you know how brutal that would be? Right? Sometimes it's hard to come in when kids are 10 and 12 years old, right? I wrote down all these things and I looked at this list. I'm like, how am I going to do that? So maybe it's your list of how much money you want to make. Maybe it's the list of what kind of physical shape you want to be in. Maybe it's the list of relationship. When you make that list, we have to then turn and say, who do I have to become? What identity shifts do I need to attract that kind of human in my life? So I went to work on me, and I did go to UPW and Date with Destiny. I get to be friends with Tony, and I started shifting. And once you start identifying the identity you were and the identity you want to become, oh my God, it's so visible. I'm like, of course that's why relationships didn't work here and didn't work here. And I worked on me. And I feel blessed, and I'm honored to say, you know, I don't have an Instagram relationship with my wife. I have the most amazing relationship that I ever could have thought possible in the history of the world, because I worked on me. And now my new identity is not a guy that's like kind of in on relationships, and I guess they could work out. Like, my identity is pure love. My wife comes first. My wife comes before my children. My wife is my everything. I put her first. I want her to know that she could look at my phone anytime she wants. She could look at my Instagram. She knows. Listen, I always tell people this. The greatest gift I have is when I walk in a room, after 5 years or longer that we've been together, when I walk in a room and my wife looks at me, she looks at me like I'm the most amazing man she's ever seen, and it's the first time she ever saw me. And I don't want to do anything to screw that up. I'll just be honest. I don't ever want to walk in and she go, oh, hey, what's up, hon? I want her to look at me like, and so I had to become a different man. I had to shift my identity. So I don't know if that helps, but what I want to say is sometimes shifting that identity alone is really, really difficult. Trying to do things without the help of outside world. Being a part of a community like this, learning from someone like KK, being a part of a group every week where you're held accountable for change. Because it's easy to go, I want to be in better shape, but then skip the gym. I want true love, but then don't really do the work, right? I want to take my business to another level, but then you're just dabbling. Right? We're also going into most likely a recession and inflation and all the craziness coming on. You need to be connected and gain capabilities, because there's all another level of our own self waiting on the inside.
So I was watching the chat box here, and that was like amazing. And I have the privilege, you guys, you can't see from the camera
I wasn't prepared on this, just so you know.
It was so good from the heart. And I can see from, you guys don't have this camera angle, but his wife, actually, Lisa, would you come out here? No, she says no. But
she's like, I have no makeup on.
The camera angle, literally we can see her, and she's just watching Dean, and it's just really beautiful to see somebody that is that honest. That's what we're talking about here, like awakening. When we say that, it's becoming awake to who you were and awake to who you want to be. So the contrast of what you've learned today with Dean's story, I think, is just one of the best ways to see a living, breathing, walking example of this. One more question, if I can put you on the spot.
Of course.
Is a lot of people out here, whether it's a relationship or it's relationships in your life, intimate or not, A lot of people have, and I know this from my own life, so I'm speaking for me and I'm hoping we can all relate. And if you relate, you can put it in the chat. This desire to grow, and then there's that you're growing, but you're kind of pulling away from the people that are your closest intimate circle. Yeah. So what guidance would you say, just because you've had this journey in your own life of entrepreneurship and business and your pursuit of growth, what would you say to us about, like, I guess about that? Like, you're growing and you're shifting away from other people. Do you try to bring them with you, or like what happens? And
so, you know, this has been a question. I've been doing this probably only second to Tony. Tony's got 45 years in this industry. He touched my life 25 years ago. The reason I'm in this industry is because of Tony. For 25 years, I've been sharing what I know, trying to help people go to another level. I feel blessed. Tony and I are partners. We work on multiple companies together. I get to do all this great stuff. I got to meet you guys today. I had no idea I was going to be here with you, right? And I have to say, that's probably the top question over the last 25 years. What about my friends? What about people who think I'm nuts? Who in here has somebody in their life think you're crazy because you want another level? You think you're a little nuts, you're a little foo-foo, you're a little something. Like congratulations. They don't make statues of critics. They make statues of the crazy people, the dreamers, the ones that know they were meant for more. So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to back up for a second, and I'm just going to share something that if you've ever heard this before, sorry you're going to hear it again. But I play tricks on myself to make myself take the actions I must take, even if it's uncomfortable action. Most times when you want to move forward, it's uncomfortable, right? It might be uncomfortable to say, I need to make a change. I need to be a part of Unleash Her Power Within. I need to move forward. I need to go to UPW. I need to play full out. It's hard because it's easy to stay where we are, right? But here's what I do. Tony calls it leverage. I play games with myself all the time, and here's what I think. You have people who love you, care about you. Some people might be envious, but most of the time they're looking through their own glasses, thinking they're protecting you or think you're going to get burned. But here's what I know. Do you really want to dim your glow to match those around you? Let me ask you that as the first question. Second thing, my dear friend Lisa Nichols, she's amazing. She said something once that just stuck out. She said, you're expecting other people to get your dreams and your goals. But guess what? God gave them to you, not them, right? Like, we're expecting our family, our friends, our husband, our coworkers, our sister, our mom to get our dreams. It wasn't downloaded to them. It was downloaded to us. So to them, it looks insane. You're crazy. You're a dreamer. You're going to lose everything. When I decided to go in this business, my sister drove 9 hours without stopping to sit me down like an intervention to tell me how crazy I was because I was in the car business and built houses, and now all of a sudden I'm going to be Tony Robbins. Like, she thought I was insane. She did everything in her power to talk me out of it. I love her, but thank God I didn't listen to her. Right? My sister didn't do it to hurt me. She thought she was protecting me, but it wasn't her dream. It was mine. But here's the thing I do to go into the future to come back in the present. Imagine at the end of a long life, you're 100 years old, it's over, and you get to meet your maker, whoever you believe your maker is. And imagine your maker, let's say God, I believe I'm going to meet God someday. Imagine God has his iPhone and played you a video of the woman you could have been. I really like you to hear that for a second. Imagine if your maker played you a video of the woman or the man you could have been. I think about that stuff all the time, and I can't let someone, if they love me or if they're just deter me from the path I need to go, right? Dale Carnegie said the biggest plight of the human race is knowing you have more potential and not utilizing it. Who in here knows you have more potential? You have more to give the world, more to serve, more to deliver, more to give, more money to make, more love to have, right? But we have to do something different. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, what is that? The definition of insanity. We got to do something different. So that was a long answer for a short question because I wanted to give you leverage because it's hard in some cases to make tough decisions. So in my years of growth, I have lost a lot of friends. Sometimes they think, you're somebody different. I'm always the same human on the inside, but I am different. I want to grow. I want to be a better version of me. I have friends who've stayed with me and they just love the man I am and love watching me grow, and others couldn't take it. And it's okay. And some have left my life for a decade and then come back, and some never came back. So I never had the perfect answer, but I think I have the best answer ever. Sometimes you got to let people go. And God, the universe, whatever you believe in, has got a weird way of bringing the people that are supposed to be in your life the moment someone leaves. So I've lost some long-term friends for a while, and all of a sudden, on the tap of your shoulder, somebody new comes into your life that's amazing and supposed to be there. Someone who's your cheerleader. Somebody who's a battery charger in your life, not a battery drainer. When they call your phone, you don't go, oh God, should I answer this? You go, oh my God, she's calling. Well, you need more of those in your life, and maybe you don't have room in your life for the people who inspire you, because there's too many people telling you why you should play small, why you should follow what they do, why you should do what everybody else does. I'm not being rude, but most people aren't you. There should be 1 million people here today learning from this woman. There's only, there's tens of thousands of you, right? So, with that said, number one, sometimes you got to let them go. And trust the universe that they'll bring somebody in your life that deserves to be there. Number two, some of you, the person that is telling you you're crazy might sleep next to you at night. I'm just saying, I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand, but some of you have someone really close in your life to say, stop dreaming, let's get real, all those things. True? Right? So what I've found is that if you have that closeness, you got to learn to be Teflon, and you got to learn to be creative in your conversations. The last piece, I know you got Jenna coming out soon?
Soon.
Okay, I know you got Jenna Kutcher coming soon, so all the amazing women here, let's get to Jenna in a moment here, but I want to give you this last piece of advice. When you decide not to do something, and why you need, I'm just telling you, if you thought about being a part of Unleash Your Power Within, I'm just going to tell you, do it. Don't question it, do it. Thank me later. Do it. We all need something bigger. We all need to be plugged into something. Because here's what I tell you about someone, if you're not Teflon, I'll tell you how it works. You playing small doesn't happen overnight. Can you write this down? Playing small is cumulative. Use the word cumulative. Because here's what happens. I want to do more. Be more, have more, start my own business, fix this love, take it to another level, find depths of intimacy I've never had in my life before, find a love connection. I look out at my wife, I could get goosebumps, I love her so much. I didn't even know that existed on this planet. I thought it was BS. I thought that was like, oh yeah, people just faking on Instagram. Oh my God, I have it. If you have that and you know you want it, along the way, let me tell you what happens. If your friend or your partner, that if you're not Teflon, or if you don't let them leave for a while and they tell you you're a dreamer, or that doesn't exist, or you can't make money, not in this economy, not with this president, not with the last president, not where the economy is going. If you have people telling you that, you could be strong to a certain extent, right? But a little bit sticks. And then all of a sudden you put on the news. When's the last time you put on the news and you left feeling amazing about yourself? The news is like hell on a handbasket every single day. So then all of a sudden, your friend or family member tells you, and it's cumulative. Well, I think I could still do it. And then you watch the news. Oh, I think I could still do it. And then you go home and it's a spouse or someone else, and I think I can do it. I'm pretty sure I could do it. Maybe I should be satisfied with where I'm at. Oh, life's good enough. I should just tell myself I'm blessed every day and avoid all the shit that I'm really thinking, okay, I'm blessed, I'm good. And all of a sudden, this cumulative piece of a negative person, the news, self-doubt, all of a sudden, you know what it turns into? Imposter syndrome. That's where imposter syndrome comes from. And you go, I should just be happy that with the woman I am or the man I am, and this is good enough. Yeah, it's good enough. No wonder everybody's craving a glass of wine at 5 o'clock, because you're pushing down the woman you're supposed to be. So what I'd say is, I'm not trying to oversimplify this, but sometimes in life, we just got to identify what robs our confidence, what robs our connection to something bigger, what robs our desire to dream and to go for it. And if it robs it, do less of it. Less of that person, less of that conversation, less of that group together, and then find the things that make you feel more alive, that make you feel limitless, because you know you have an inner villain and an inner hero. What awakes that inner hero that goes, I could do so much more, be so much more. So my last bit of advice before you guys get to be with Miss Jenna Kutcher, who's amazing and a dear friend, is this. Think about the things that make you feel bad about the human you are, and do less of it. And think about the things that make you feel alive, that make you feel limitless, and do more of it. All right, that's my quick message.
Dean.
Thank you so much.
So lovely. Give it up for Dean Graziosi, everybody. Dean Graziosi, give it up for him. you know, coming out of that, it was such a blessing to be able to hear Dean just rip like raw like that, really from his heart. And I want to share with you guys, you know, one of the pieces that I think I've learned so much just being in this environment. You're going to have Jenna up here in literally seconds. From Jenna, from observing her, from Dean, from Tony, from the incredible people I've been able to see. What I noticed in myself, just like a moment of honesty with you, is for so long I was seeking permission to do what I wanted to do. And if that is a piece you relate to, I just was writing these notes and it sparked for me. I was like, gosh, I remember that, feeling like I needed permission to be that part of me. Like, is it okay for other people if I'm really fully me? Is it okay for other people if I say no to that or if I say yes to that? And Jenna, who I'm going to invite up to the screen here, I want to share a story about her so you can meet her. Some of you already know her. But we were actually in this studio, I don't know, like 2 years ago maybe. And I knew Jenna from online. She's got like 1 million followers. I mean, this woman is really well known in business. She's an incredible mother. She's a wife. She's a mama of 2 kids. And I observed her. She walked in. We didn't know each other yet. And she was so sweet to give me this piece of information that would really serve me in my life in the last 2 years. And she started sharing about how her yeses to certain things were actually no's to things that she really cared about. I'm sure she'll probably talk about that even today. But it's really for all of you and me to remember. I'm like, wow, it was such a light bulb moment. What are you saying yes to? And what are you saying no to? And are you saying no to something that could be your yes? Or are you saying yes to something that supports who you've been? And it's really getting clear on giving yourself permission to do the thing that you want to do, giving yourself permission to live the life that you want to live. I think that's the most greatest gift that each of us can give ourselves is permission to be fearless. So I want to bring up a woman who does 2 things, and she owns this like no one else I've ever seen, but she says she loves to help people wake up. Jenna, I've got your face on, so I'm trying not to like giggle because you're so happy and so vibrant, and I just love you. Thank you for being here today. We're all so blessed. It's Jenna Kutcher, everybody. So just to introduce you to this woman, she helps people in general, but a lot of women literally wake up to the gift of life. And she does it from yoga pants or comfy pants. And I have to say both of those things in tandem because she owns this like no one's business. She's the creator of the top #1 marketing podcast. It's called the Goal Digger Podcast. I listen to this. It's saved down. If you don't listen to it, you literally need to run there and listen to it immediately. But she's helped thousands of people redefine success. If you are out there chasing a certain thing of success because you think it's going to give you something, what Jenna's going to share with you today is that fulfillment is so much more important. She's a wife. She's a mother of 2 beautiful babies. She is an incredible community member, business leader for people just like you and I. And we get to be with her today. She's also really close to releasing her brand new book, which is called How Are You Really? It releases on June 28th, so please mark that date down. But she's helping people find and create the steps to live a life on their own terms, to do exactly what we're talking about here today, which is being the designer of your life. We're going to bring her on for a fireside chat. We're going to go through a bit of her journey in her life, but she shares in such a raw, beautiful way. You guys' hearts are going to be cracked open. So if you have questions as we go through this, I want you to use #Q4Jenna in the chat box. I'm watching it, and I'll be watching those as we go, and we're going to have a really beautiful fireside chat. So please join me in the UHPWA with a lot of energy, shoulders back, head up, and please welcome to the screen, Jenna Kutcher!
Aw, hi everybody. Oh my gosh, I love these dance moves. It gets me inspired. Aw,
Jenna,
you look beautiful today, let's just say.
So happy that you are here. I know you're jamming through. Jenna's actually doing like podcast after podcast after podcast after podcast right now because she's launching a book, which is an insane process. And if you guys want behind the scenes, just hit her up on social media because she's kind of sharing the process. It's really cool. But I guess I want to start with that because we're grateful for your time today and that you could join us.
Thank you for having me. I know I've been catching pieces of this event throughout my day. And I just want to say, I love how all of you are showing up. I am watching you in your lives. And I think it's so cool, KK, how people are able to consume this sort of content from the comfort of their homes. And I think it's just so beautiful because every time I jump in these Zoom rooms, I'm like, man, this is it. Like, this is learning through life. And I'm just really proud of everyone for being here and being a part of this.
I love that. And I think that's like, I find so many similarities of myself with you. It's just like, I'm kind of, in some sense, maybe this isn't you, but for me, I'm kind of a hermit. I prefer being home. I prefer staying in. And so when the world shifted virtual, even with like the UHPW program being virtual, just all of us having the opportunity to do what we want to do, where we want to do it, and be able to show up in this capacity, couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's dive in. I've got some amazing questions for you, and we really didn't share a whole ton about your background and journey, and I think that's what's going to light these women up. We're all different. Some are business owners, not business owners. Just really, this is a day for humans, and it's about the transformation of identity, which you and I have talked about. When you were 23, you originally thought you wanted to go in the corporate world. You quit that corporate job to chase your wildest dreams, started your business as a photographer. We want to know, what was your catalyst to set this new goal? Because I'm sure a lot of us have some wild dream we would want to chase. And how did you overcome the fear and the self-doubt associated with taking the leap?
Oh, I love this. I was recently on an interview and I had this huge realization, because it's really easy for people like me and KK to tell you to pursue your passions. But can you just put your hand in the air if you're somebody who's listening to this and you're like, I don't even know what I'm passionate about? Does anyone ever feel that way? Like, yeah, I'd go out and pursue it if I knew what the passion was. And I recognized that there was a catalyst in my life that really applies to what you guys are learning today, in that sometimes when I didn't know what I wanted, I had to lean on what I knew I didn't want any longer. And for me, when I was in my corporate job, I had this moment where my boss sat me down and she gave me my 5-year plan. They didn't ask me, what do you want in 5 years? Who do you want to be? Do you want the greater job or the greater opportunities? What feels good to you? And I recognized I don't necessarily know what I want, but I can really land on the fact that I don't want this. And I feel like right now, the world, especially women, we are dealing with this feeling of not feeling like passionate human beings anymore. We have been in survival mode for so long that if somebody were to ask you today, what do you like to do outside of work or motherhood or parenthood or your relationship, you wouldn't even have a response. So when somebody tells you to pursue your passions, it can sometimes feel confusing, because you're like, if I knew what my passion was, maybe I could be in pursuit of it. But if you are someone who is on here today and you're saying, I don't know what my passion is, maybe the place to start is what you don't want. Sometimes it's easier for us to define, I don't want a life where I feel stuck. I don't want a life where I dread what I see on my calendar. I don't want a life where someone else is defining success for me. I don't want a life where my 5-year plan is handed to me without my input. I don't want a life where I feel like my work isn't meaningful. I don't want a life where I don't love the body I'm in. There are so many things here. And so when I left the corporate world at the age of 23, I didn't necessarily know what I wanted. And I can tell you today, 10 years later, that my life is far greater than I could have ever imagined. But part of what I had to really come to terms with is I don't know exactly what I want, but I know what I can move away from. And in moving away, my career has held a lot of dips and curves and pivots. I've gone from being a wedding photographer to a watercolor artist, to a speaker, to a podcaster, to now an author. But in this pursuit, I've stayed aligned to this intuition, this little whisper that nudges me when something doesn't feel right, or maybe something doesn't feel like I thought it would, or maybe there's something that's lighting me up, or I'm curious. And I followed all of this on the path. And so that journey, when I look at this decade-long journey, it wasn't necessarily this pursuit of passion every step of the way. Sometimes it was leaning on, I think I need to go in a different direction. I think I need to change. I think I need to pivot. And that's why I love what this event is that it is this invitation for you to recognize, where in your life are you not happy or fulfilled? Where in your life are you maybe faking it? Or faking that you're enjoying it? Where in your life are you just fine? And so that was a very roundabout way to answer your question, KK, but I hope that I hit on just a little bit of it.
I love it. I particularly love you talking about that gut and that intuition piece. I think the blessing that we have, literally, this is like a 95% female event within the Tony Robbins world, which is just the coolest thing ever. And I think it's an amazing approach, like a feminine style to follow your gut in life.
Yeah.
And not like that's like a woman's thing to do, but just that feminine, masculine energy. And it's like, I've been following that like nobody's business. So maybe just speak to that a bit. Like, what if it's your gut is like totally against, it's going to let somebody down. It's going to shake up your life. It's going to shake the very foundation of your 20, 30, 40, 50 years that you've put in on earth, and now you have this whisper, and it's like, do I follow that, or is that going to just crumble everything?
Yeah. You know, it's really interesting in writing my book. The word really and how are you really is the most important word in the title, because there's a difference in conversation when somebody says, how are you? And you answer with the good, fine, busy, you know, doing the thing. And you're with somebody that you feel safe with, and they say, how are you really? And you feel like you are being asked to honestly answer. And a lot of times we think about the words, how are you really, in terms of conversation with other people. But at the heart of what I want people to understand is that this needs to be a conversation we're having with ourselves. And when it comes to intuition, I often picture an old school stereo with two dials. And what has happened in our lives is that the dial that is the noise of the world, the expectations, the things we're told we should be doing, the identities and the titles that people have given to us, that dial is turned up really loud. There is no lack of noise in our lives. But that dial that is that quiet whisper, that inner knowing, I talk about it in my book as like these pings of feeling that we have put do not disturb mode on. That is where we can find alignment that will guide us to fulfillment. You know, there's this idea, this notion of like, can women really have it all? And my answer to that question is, of course you can, but it's up to you to define what all is. For me, having it all is feeling peace in all areas of my life, feeling aligned in all areas of my life. And so when we think about this idea of intuition, I will say, and I will unapologetically say this, KK, I think intuition is women's greatest gift. And I think what has happened is that the world has told us to stop listening and trusting ourselves and start looking outward. But we can look outward for things that are beyond ourselves in terms of strategies and frameworks and proven science-driven methods to help us unlock things. But the real magic is when we take those things, those strategies, those frameworks, and we combine them with ourselves. Right? With our knowing, with the things that we know are meant for us. There's this line in our book, in my book, that says, maybe other people's solutions haven't worked for you because they weren't meant for you. They didn't come from you. And I've been thinking about personal development because it's been this journey that I have been intimately on recently, in recent years, where I've just been really digging into the stuff that you guys are learning today. And what I think can happen in today's world is that we get so focused on the development piece that we forget to partner it with the personal piece, right? The personal piece of personal development means we take the gut and we put it with the grit. We take the strategies, but we implement them in the way that speaks to us. We take accountability for who we are and the gifts that we have, and we utilize those things with the frameworks and the systems. We put the personal with the development so that we can fully grow into the person we're meant to become. And so when I look at my life and this idea and this notion of intuition, I can honestly say that it has been my secret sauce. It has been the thing that has kept me in alignment. And when I start to go off of the path, when the old school Garmin would say rerouting, I slowly get back on and I turn the dial up on that inner knowing, on that voice. It's like if you've ever been in a bad relationship or made a bad decision or invested in a wrong way, and somebody asks you down the road, they say, did you have a feeling or did you know? A lot of times the answer is yes. But we've stopped trusting ourselves and instead started to turn to other things and other people and Instagram posts and things like that. And we've forgotten to mix the personal with the development. And I really think that what KK has been talking about all day is how can we take our inner gifts, our longings, this desire, the things that we're naturally good at, our unconscious competencies, and partner them with the tools and the strategies and the systems to really become who we were made to become. And I think intuition has to be a passenger on the journey with us.
I love that. And I want to talk about your word for the year. We're together on the gram, so I get to see some of your honest posts. And Jenna's been on because there's so many ladies here, we could just speak about it raw, like an amazing skincare journey. And I feel like every time I see, it's been incredible. Just like, doesn't she look flawless if she's glowing? Okay, not the point of the question, but the point of the question is your word for the year is vibrant. And I'm curious if you could just share with us, like, the personal development journey, the growth with yourself, the growth with even down to your skin and your health and your new Nike partnership. And it's just like, it seems like you're pouring so much into you. I'd love for us to speak to, because I've definitely been there, the person in the audience that has an overwhelming sense of guilt about, like, even in terms of a program like this, like, investing in yourself and the guilt associated, or wanting to go do that thing that is really for you and then the guilt associated, or the mamas in the room that are experiencing the gift or the guilt. Maybe just what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So every year I choose a word of the year, and going into this year, I was literally 1 month postpartum with my second daughter, chasing a toddler, nursing a little one, and still feeling so ambitious. And I've recognized that society tells us, specifically in my context as a working mom, that we should work like we're not mothering and mother like we don't work. And I think that that is where a lot of the guilt comes in, is because we are trying to do both things and do them perfectly. It's funny because the word of the year for me was vibrant. And I chose that word specifically because it's a feeling. A lot of times in life, we choose and work towards things that look good. But I don't know about you, but have you ever set a goal that on paper or in conversation, it sounds good, it looks good, but it didn't feel good? Well, my word of the year this year was to make sure that I was staying in alignment with how I feel. And there's a chapter in my book talking about feeling your feelings. I have a 3.5-year-old who is a deep feeler. Oh, that girl teaches me about emotional intelligence on a daily basis. And I've recognized that a lot of times we have numbed out how we're feeling. Like, we have really tried to suppress different emotions and things just to get to a state of good or happy, when in reality, our feelings are guiding us towards different things. Guilt is a feeling. It's something that we all probably experience in different aspects of our lives. But I believe that we feel that because we are so fixated on trying to achieve balance. And if you actually study the origin of the word balance, balance is actually just a moment, not something that is meant to be maintained. And so as we have moved through life telling ourselves and each other that we need to find balance, we are really trying to find something that is not meant to be sustainable in our lives. And so what KK is talking about, this goal of feeling vibrant, has become this piece of my life. I can tell you right now today, I have been doing live calls and interviews for 7 hours straight. And I have never felt more energetically aligned in my entire life. I would have never had the stamina to do something like this while pumping and nursing a baby. I even made it to a pediatric appointment this morning. And what's fascinating to me is that my word of the year was vibrant because I wanted to feel a certain way. And I knew that what I wanted to do required a certain feeling to move through it. I want to launch a book out into the world and be the best mom to my babies. And I want to do both. And I believe I can do both. But in order to do both, I have to energetically show up in a different way. And in order to feel different energetically, I have to do things different than I've done in the past. And so one thing that I've really been focusing on is filling my cup. And it's that dumb adage that is so right. Like if your mom had a bulletin board in her house with a funny script that was like, you have to fill up your cup before you can pour into anyone else, your mom was right. Because a lot of times we as women, we fill our cups last. Or we say, we'll get around to that win, or I'll take care of myself win, or I'll pursue that dream win. But if we've learned anything in recent years, like someday is not a day on the calendar. Someday doesn't just magically arrive. And a lot of us have spent our lives waiting and wasting these seasons of waiting and not becoming who we want to become to live out our greatest vision. So when I think about this feeling of wanting to feel vibrant, I think often about how life is being presented to us in these before and after photos, right? Like we've all seen these transformation photos, whether it's weight loss or longer eyelashes or my skin was bad and now it's good. And we see these before and after, but most of us, in fact, I would say all of us are living in the middle right now. We're living in the middle and we're waiting for the after, and we're waiting to show up until that after happens. And when we see these before and after photos that people share, we usually start with the what and the how. What are you doing to lose that weight? How did you clear up your skin? But when we have conversations like this, which we often do as women, we're missing the number one thing that we should be asking. Why? Why were you committed this time around to change your life? Why were you committed this time around to try something new? Why are you showing up in this way? Why are you so focused on being vibrant? Why are you changing the way that you're approaching life as a mom or in your career? And I think as women, we get so stuck on the what and the how, which are things that can be given to us, that we never actually get to the heart of the why. I want to feel vibrant this year because I want to get my book into the hands of the humans I wrote it for. But I also want to be home every single night to put my kids to bed. My why is so deep that when people ask me these days, which I get asked it a lot, how are you really, since it's the title of my book, I have to say, I've never been stretched more thin, but I've never been more energetically aligned. And so as we are working through what KK is teaching you today, I want for you to not think about the what and the how, because that's already done for you. But I want for you to dig really deep into the why. If we think about the things we've already talked about, our intuition and our energy and our time, how can we make sure that our why is so deep that we tether ourselves to be willing to finally take the steps to change?
My favorite post that I saw just recently was you laying in bed with your daughter and you were like, screw the balance, this is the blend. And yes. I seriously think it needs to be like a bumper sticker, and because I feel the same way. I think what's beautiful is that we just have so many different unique people. Some of you are parents. Some of you, your babies are already grown and gone. Some of you, you don't have kids yet. Like I'm an aspiring mama. So I just think it's very cool to be able to see a new representation of what that looks like. And even at my age, be able to see the word blend, you know, versus that balance, and just to be able to start shifting some of our perspectives. My next question
for
you.
Real quick, KK, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
One thing that you just pointed out to me is like, we're all in these totally different seasons, whether we're aspiring to be anyone or different, or we're on this journey. And when we talk about guilt is often partnered with feeling selfish, right? Like self-care is selfish. Self-development feels selfish. And I lived for a while as a new mom, especially because we had a really challenging fertility journey. And I was just like, when I finally arrive, I'm all in on this motherhood thing. I realized that my kids are going to benefit by seeing their mom fully engaged and fully awake and fully alive. And if I am dimming my light thinking that that's going to brighten theirs, I'm wrong. And it's been really fascinating because I'm in the busiest season of my career in the last 4 years, but I'm also the best mom I've ever been, because right before I jumped on here, my daughter, they ran over here. My office is literally a block away from my house. It's not even my office. It's an office I asked if I could use their meeting room in so that I could have a little quiet and do focused work. And my kids came over and they're like, Mom, good luck. You're going to do great. This is so cool. And my husband's like, what's a Zoom link? Can we tune in and watch you? And my kids are probably watching this right now. And what I want you to know is that it is not selfish to pursue something greater for yourself. In fact, when you become greater, you bring people along with you on the journey to become greater. When I was hiding the work that I did from my daughter because I wanted her to think that my entire world revolved around her, I was doing a disservice to her. Because when she sees me speaking on stages or doing interviews or showing up on the Today Show or wherever I'm going to be, she sees what's possible for her too. She sees that mom is fully alive and my invitation is to come fully alive. And this isn't just for parents. This is for people in your circles, in your communities, in your churches, in your careers, in your neighborhood. When people see someone fully alive, it is an invitation that this isn't reserved for the special few. This is an invitation and a birthright for all of us. So sorry, KK, but I just had to share that because I hate that people are walking around feeling selfish for wanting more for their lives.
You could not have even said it better. And I want to share Maria Laura Gillen put a comment up just saying, I'm struggling with the motherhood plus the career. And I'm just so glad that you said this. There's two things. Number one, I want to show this photo. Maria, you should look, and for everybody else, this is the blend. Yes. This is it in action. And it's just so lovely to see you actually being the representation. I heard you share that in an interview that you did. It's like when we think, oh, I'm the only one here, where's everybody else? It's like, no, I am the representation. I'm going to own this moment. I'm going to help transform what this looks like for my daughter and future generations. Yes. I guess to kind of wrap up here, a couple more minutes with you. You have been, like, you are such a living, breathing, walking representation of self-education, which is what this whole space is like leading yourself to the water to then drink it, to then change your life. So what role have mentors played? I know I just met you like a couple years ago, and that's like the same time you just met Tony. So you've really only known Tony for a couple years. And how's that journey been with learning from his teachings and Sage's teachings? How has that evolved for you?
Yeah, you know, it's really interesting, and why I want to acknowledge how proud I am for everyone in these rooms is that I put off personal development until I could not ignore it any longer. I was someone who leaned so heavily on strategies and systems and beautiful things that could be written in textbooks so that I could ignore the inner work that was necessary for me to break into the next level. And one of the things that I think is really interesting and why I think you should be so proud of yourselves for being here is that a lot of times we don't want to ask ourselves, how am I really? Because we know that if the answer is I'm not okay, that it means that we need to do something. And I think we're afraid to even ask the question because we know deep down that the answer might be that there has to be a change. And in addressing that and even acknowledging it or whispering it into our lives, it means that now we are responsible to do something about it. And for me, I avoided personal development until it was no longer avoidable. I had to develop as a person. For me, personal development entered my life when I was going through my fertility struggles. And I recognized, like, I cannot systemize or strategize my way to this vision of being a mom. There's only so much that I have control over. And as someone who is a control freak and someone who loves to white knuckle things, releasing and surrendering to this notion that, like, I have to just be the best version of myself to prepare myself for what I hold as a someday vision of being a mom meant that I had to start stepping in to things like personal development before I ever felt ready. And it's really interesting because when I first met Tony, my only reference of him was from the movie Shallow Hal. Has anyone seen that? I didn't know much about him. And I kind of love that that was the beginning of my relationship with him because all I had was a deep respect for the work that he's done and the way that he shows up, knowing that he doesn't have to do a darn thing for the rest of his life and he would live a very comfortable life. And there's something beautiful about watching people whose literal gift to the world is service. I've been really fortunate now to spend a lot of time behind the scenes with Tony and Sage and even their little one, and getting to know them on that personal level. I can tell you that the man you see on stage is impressive, but the man you see behind the scenes is even more impressive. And what I think is incredible about this work is that strategies and systems can take you so far. But it's that deeper inner work. It's those mindsets. It's those belief systems. It's the way that you feel about yourself when you're alone with yourself that totally impact how you show up for your life. And for me, it's been this incredible journey of leaning into my gifts and my knowledge and bringing the personal with me while developing, that has really brought about a beautiful relationship with people like Dean and Tony. I invite you to step into this next version of yourself, acknowledging that you maybe messed up in the past, or maybe you didn't follow through in the way you thought you would, or maybe you set these lofty goals and you fell off and you're sitting there in shame. I want for you to have some grace for the person you were, but to have these deep hopes for the person you're becoming. I often say, here's what I know so far, because I look at life as this journey that we're on. We are all just moving through. And a lot of times this shame that we have for who we once were, or this guilt for the things that maybe we missed in the past, holds us back from becoming. It's like when we think about signing yearbooks when we're in high school and we say, never change. And there's this fear that if somebody changes, will they still like me? If somebody changes, will we still have things in common? If somebody changes, will we still understand each other? But if I could go back to those yearbooks, I would say, instead of saying never change, I would say, I can't wait to see who you become. And I think we are all on this journey of becoming. And when I look at my relationship with the Robbins family, they have gotten to watch me become who I was meant to become who I always have been able to become the type of mom I want to become the author that I dreamt of, become all of these things. And so it's been a really fascinating journey from thinking about the elevator scene in Shallow Hal to thinking about sitting on Tony's couch and having a latte. But I think that there's something so beautiful when you take on people that are further in this area in your life and you bring about your own unique gifts and perspective and you couple them together. I think the opportunities are endless.
I Sage said something to me. So I share a similarity with you and a lot of the community members here that are alumni. Meeting the Robbins myself, it's like literally I don't even recognize who I was just a couple years ago. Like the shift happens so fast, and it's such a blessing just to be in this environment and be able to learn from their wisdom. But I remember Sage said something to me one time. She was like, I have water in me. Like it was something about like a flower. You know how you pour water on plants, to help them grow and evolve, or like a flower, it opens and it flowers open. And that's like one of her greatest passions, is watching people open up in their own life and be more true to them. And I saw a comment in the chat box, and I think this is a really great place to put a completion on this conversation. But someone said, I'm afraid to have deep hopes about the person I'm becoming. And I know my relation to that is because sometimes you're terrified if you can't fulfill it. So we hide from it and we say, I'll just leave that beautiful future version of me in the future and I'll stay over here. What would you say to the woman that feels in her heart right now like, holy moly, I can be more, have more, do more, be more true to myself, and I'm sitting on the edge and I'm absolutely terrified to take the leap because I don't know if I can trust myself?
Yeah. So when I was writing my book, I was really thinking about the way that we believe about ourselves. And if you follow me on social media, I'm not shy to talk about like my own struggles with my body image. But beyond body image, I've recognized this thing where what we believe about ourselves, whether it's about our body, our capabilities, our dreams, our desires, our ability to follow through, impacts how we show up in every single area of our life. We often disqualify ourselves from the race before we even inch our way to the starting line. And one thing that I've been really focusing on lately is how can we take microscopic, teeny tiny action towards the thing that we want. And this is countercultural in today's society where we want to show progress. We want to show people the work. We want to get out there and share on our peer-reviewed journal of social media or the internet and say, look at me, look at what I'm doing. But when we take teeny tiny steps of action, we slowly start to build up our confidence and our belief in ourselves to follow through. Because guess what? There have been times in our lives where we've set this goal, or we've started the diet or the workout plan, or we've set this intention that we're going to journal every day, or we promise ourselves we'll read this book, and then we fall off and that doubt overtakes us. So how can we build a muscle of confidence within ourselves through taking these tiny little microscopic bits of action that wouldn't look good on Instagram, action that maybe nobody will see, but we know, so that we can build up our belief in ourselves? I often think about a tree. If I were to invite you and I said, hey, come sit alongside me, we're going to pull out some lawn chairs and we're going to watch this tree grow. It'd be really boring, right? On top of the surface, there's things that are happening, but the real growth is happening below the surface. The real growth is as the roots stretch and anchor into something. Chances are, if you're here today, you're looking for your anchor. You're looking for this opportunity to grow, to anchor in, to tether yourself to something more, something greater. And I have this line that I think of often: slow growth, deep roots. Slow growth, deep roots. It doesn't have to be fast. It doesn't have to be overnight. You don't have to show up with the perfect before and after photo for the world to see. I want for you to build up your belief in yourself through tiny bits of action that will give you the confidence to show up just a little bit stronger each day. My final thought is this. There's this line in my book, and it's actually talking about grief, but it applies here. It says a lot of times we're tempted to move on, right? Like we want to move on from the hard things in life, from the hard seasons or the loss or the despair, the goals that were forgotten. We want to move on. But I want to encourage you. I don't want for you to move on. I want for you to move forward. And I want for you to carry the things that may have felt like burdens in the past with you. I want for you to take the lessons you've learned, the loss you've encountered, the life that you've lived, and I want for you to learn how to carry it forward with you. Because a lot of times we think that we need to just move on, when in reality, we just need to move forward. We're not going back, we're moving forward. We're not bouncing back, we're moving in a new direction. And so today is a massive invitation for you to do that, to pick up who you are and what you've been through and start to move forward, knowing that your experiences that you've been through thus far are strengthening you with every tiny step. Slow growth, deep roots. Don't forget it.
Well, I'm tattooing it on my foot. I absolutely love it. Jenna, as you know, this is kind of the opening of Unleash Her Power Within. We only run the program a couple times a year. So Jenna, you guys, has provided something for those of you. I know a lot of you are already in, but those of you that want to join the next round of the program, we only run the program a couple times a year. We have a special bonus from Jenna. Do you want me to explain, or would you like to share?
Yeah, you share, but it's all about the topics that we've talked about today.
Yes. Okay. So I got a chance to see a sneak peek of this. Let me put it up on the screen. We're getting an exclusive training from Jenna. It's a bonus training, $197 value from an event that she has done in the past. We actually get to clip it and go behind the scenes and watch it, but I got to actually experience it. And Jenna talks about, you could take this off. I want to share this one piece. She talks about wanting to have this transformation that she's speaking about today in her own life. And she said, I had to put my fingers in like the finger slip of the future. Like I had to get myself installed into the future me before I could get there. And I was like, oh my God, this could not be more perfect. This is exactly what we are doing. So when you guys enroll into the program, this training is just going to be included for you, and we call it your hub. But we put a bunch of extra resources and bonuses for you that will be included in the back for you. You're going to absolutely have that from Jenna. And I just want to thank you for doing that. That's for anyone that enrolls into UHPW from the Life Design Masterclass. So thank you, Jenna, for that.
Thank you guys for having me.
And then also, I just want to share again that Jenna's book, How Are You Really, is coming out at the end of June. I cannot wait to experience it as well. So make sure you guys keep your eyes out for that and start opening up your soul in advance of the book coming out. Thank you, Jenna, so much for joining us. We love you. Tony loves
everybody.
You. Sage loves you. We all love you. Thank you. Jenna Kutcher, everybody. Thank you so much, Jen. I know she's still on, so let's flood the chat box with some love, whether you're here with us in our VIP room. I know there's some others of you streaming in. Jenna has been such an incredible just friend, mentor, leader. If you're not viewing her, I think that's one of the most, the greatest blessings of having social media is that you can actually fill it up with the things that charge you up, like what Dean was saying. And Jenna's definitely one of those people, so keep her in your corner. She's in our corner at UHPW. She's kind of one of our cast of characters or faces you'll see, and she's been a really, really important part of our world. So I love her, and I'm so glad you guys got to meet and experience having Jenna here today. I saw a question come through about this bonus. Someone said if I signed up yesterday for the program, anyone that has signed up for the program, whether you signed up earlier before the bonus was announced, whether you signed up yesterday or a couple days ago, you'll all get the bonus honored and included. It'll all be available for you inside of your hub. This Life Design Masterclass, you guys, the purpose of it is to help you dedicate the time consistently. 3 hours is not a short window for the modern working woman, the busy person that has so much going on in life. So I want to honor you guys for dedicating your most precious asset to creating your life. You just have to know you can't flirt with transformation. You've got to marry it. You've got to be really willing and ready to commit to exploring these parts of yourself. I don't want you to close the computer screen today or close that book or leave this room and be nervous to go back to whatever life looks like. This is your life right now. This is real. This moment is real. This opportunity is real. And we're all here to help you, to support you, and to serve you. So I know I went so fast earlier. We keep getting slammed with all these questions. The team's giving me all these printouts of what the experience in the program is. So I'm going to walk through it one more time and just make sure I hit all the details. If you are someone that loves like logistics and details and times and dates, I'm going to walk through the whole program right now, A to Z, start to finish, so you can really, really understand what it is. Again, we start the last week of this month on Tuesday. So that's the first day of the program. But let's walk through. So again, a visual. You guys see here, you've got me in the screen. I'll be your facilitator in this round of the program. I'm so excited about it. You've got Mr. Tony Robbins. He'll be another person that you're training with. He's going to be both in the program in certain capacities and at his live Unleash the Power Within event. And then you've got all this stuff coming to you in a big, giant event box shipped to your front door. The moment that you guys sign up, this box is going to get shipped to you. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, you are getting that box to your front door. And it comes with this gorgeous, amazing workbook, and this will guide you through. I'm trying to get into the screen. You can take that down for a second. This will guide you guys through the entire program. So this workbook is split up into the 4 phases, which phase 1 is awakening, phase 2 is creation, phase 3 is transformation, phase 4 is momentum. We'll have 8 weeks together, step by step, breaking down this content, and it's not about some moment where I'm going to shoot through the screen. You're going to have this soul-defining moment of epiphany. It's exactly what Jen is talking about. It's these small gradual wins over time, and it's called stacking. This program is about the journey of who you've been to where you want to go. And week by week, we're going to get you closer to that person that you want to be. So by the end, you look back and you say, holy guacamole, I don't even recognize who I was when I started it. That's the gift of transformation and spaced repetition, doing this over time. So let's go through the whole offer and then the discount we're giving you guys for the Life Design Masterclass. It is only for you. If you wait and sleep on this, it will not be back. You'll come to the page and it'll be $1,095 to join. That is the program price. We love to honor those of you that are at the Masterclass. And to the person who is already outing themselves, thinking it's not possible because you've never invested in this capacity in yourself before, just breathe. You got this. I've got you. And we've got a way to make it happen. So let me show you. Okay, so the first thing that you guys are going to get is 8 live trainings with me. That'll be every single Tuesday if you want to show up live. We have 2 more ways that you could watch. You could also show up. We have another time frame on Fridays. If you want to join, we play them with the entire global audience, or they're all uploaded into your hub every single Wednesday, and so you could watch them at a time that serves and supports you. The second thing that you are going to get that's going to happen in the transformation phase of the program is going to be going to Unleash the Power Within with Tony Tony Robbins, July 14th through the 17th, all of us as a community. We all sit together in the same Zoom room. I guide you through it. I'm with you the entire time with thousands of other people from around the world, and you will have transformation with the legendary Tony. You're going to go through a process that literally rewires you top to bottom. This is like, you can't not do it. It's like the moment you sign up for this, you should go, I'm good. I'm in, I'm good. I can guarantee this transformation for myself as long as you show up and play full out. It's going to support you to the extent that you play full out, okay? The third piece to this is you're gonna get your entire workbook for the program, but also the workbook for Unleash the Power Within, which is included inside of your event box. And then for the actual event for Tony, you guys can add on additional event boxes if you want other people to participate in that UPW with you. Later on, we'll give you the option to do that, but you can add on other boxes so you can make it a family experience. If you want to bring your kids in, if you want to bring your spouses in to do it with you, you really can make this kind of a community experience, if you will. Next, you guys are going to get access to the private community. This is one of the best parts. The community they're in the chat right now. I'm seeing a lot of them, but the community is everything. It's kind of hard, and raise a hand if you agree, to make friends as grown women. Sometimes. For some of you, maybe not. For me, it is. I love to stay in. I don't like going out. And it's hard to meet people that sometimes have the same level of achievement or ideas of what I want in terms of fulfillment in their life as I do in mine. We give you guys something called Power 5 sessions, where once a week we pop you in a group with 5 other women from around the world, around the globe. So by the end of the program, mathematically, you're set up to have 80 new friends just from that alone. If you're someone that's nervous and likes to kind of be in the background, there's no rush on this. You can come out and enjoy as much as you want. We'll guide you through the process, and it'll be a great way to open up. And then finally, 50 meals donated to Feeding America on your behalf. So the program price is $10.95. This is what the program will sell for after this masterclass. Once this package for you guys is gone, it is literally gone. If you go to the page, it will not be there. The bonuses will be gone, and you cannot reach out, KK, can you get it for me? No, I have no pull. You guys think I do, but I absolutely do not. So you want to get it right now. The 3 bonuses for the Life Design Masterclass number 1 are $300 off of the program. That's going to make this program $795 for you. For context, the value is $10.95 for the program, $12.95 for the UPW ticket, $249 for this Ultimate Relationship program, and $197 for Jenna's course. I mean, you guys, this is like in the $4,000 of value for $795 bucks. The third piece you're getting is Tony Robbins Health Summit. This is coming up next week. We'll all be able to attend together, and the entire program is virtual. That means you could do it from your kitchen, from your living room, from your underwear if you want to. I don't care. You can make this work for you, and you don't need anything fancy to do it. It can be from the basement, from the garage, from the car. It's really a beautiful way to participate in the way that serves you best. And then I want to remind you guys, we're also getting the bonus training from Jenna. This is all going to be in what we call your hub. So the same place you'll go to get your trainings for the course. When we upload them, you're going to have additional resources, just like the bonus from Jenna, all about the transformation of identity. I want to talk about the payment plans. I saw a couple questions come in. Oh my gosh, I really, really, really want to do it. And, financially, perhaps it's a stretch. I hope you guys can feel, I want every woman and person in the whole world to be able to do this. And I know what it feels like to be sitting on the other side of the screen, having never invested in yourself. I know because I spent $1,400 on an event one time when I had none of it, and it completely changed me. I went from the 43rd floor of the Aon Center in Chicago, working in marketing, living in my parents' basement, to speaking with you guys today because I was absolutely terrified and I invested in myself. So I've made it my mission to find ways that we can make the investment possible for you. One of those is the payment plan. So you have 2 options. You can pay in full, $795 bucks. You're in, you get all the bonuses, all the discounts, everything, and I'll see you next week for orientation. And both of these options are amazing, so you can choose either. You can do a 3-pay, 3 installments of $291. That gets you in, it gets you everything. You don't miss out on one thing by choosing the pay plan. I saw someone say, oh, I can only do the payment plan. Don't dismiss yourself. That's so good. We put both of these options because we want you to have both of them. So this entire shebang together, you got the live trainings, you got UPW, you got the 100-page workbook, you got the community, you've got the 50 meals, and you've got all 4 bonuses now, including Jenna's. And so that price will be $795 for you. And do not forget, you guys, if it is not a 100% mind-blowing yes by just the 3rd week, you can just shoot us a note and we'll refund you absolutely every penny of your money. So you have nothing to lose, everything to gain. I would be so honored to be your teammate on this journey and help guide you because this is your one extraordinary life. You are the creator of your one extraordinary life, and it's those moments of decision that shape us. So I hope you feel called. I hope you feel pulled. If it feels like I'm giving you that nudge, it's because I do this program. I wish I had my journal. I've got it somewhere. I take myself through the program every single time with you, and it is the ultimate way to tap into who you are. And once you guys taste the nectar, once you taste and experience who you are, and you're able to deliver that to your community, your family, your children, it's just something you can't even explain. You can try to experience it, but you can't until you do it. So I invite you to join us. And if you want to really understand what the experience is, we'll play the video one more time. I could talk about it till I'm blue in the face, but we'll play that video. I want you to watch the testimonies of the women that have been in this program before and feel it. VIPs, I'm going to meet you guys in just a quick break. You can click your link and head over or stay in the same room, but I'll meet you there for that. But finally, just you guys, this is $291 down for the payment plan, $795 pay in full. UHPW.com is where you can find everything. And don't miss it, okay? Once this is gone, I think it ends at the end of the weekend. It's gone. So get yourself in, and I'll see you at the next round of the program. And it's been a beautiful life design masterclass. And I'll leave you with the experience of UHPW, our video, so you guys can watch it, feel it, live it. And I'll see you inside the program. Bye.
UHPW was a lifeline for me.
I really felt lost, and I didn't know it.
I've always struggled with female relationships.
I grew up in my life not having a lot of friends.
Before I was existing but not really living.
You have decided to be the creator of your one extraordinary life. And when we start saying yes to life, really beautiful things unfold. How are you feeling?
UHPW is the launch pad to the most magical, successful, impactful UPW experience that a woman could ever dream of. UHPW is life-changing.
It is just life-changing.
Life will never be the same. I had the biggest breakthrough I've ever had in my life.
Something just clicked. Our relationship has changed tenfold.
I love this community so much because it's my soulmates. I'm just having a breakthrough.
I kind of always describe UHPW as like the program that made me.
And I really, truly found myself. I know what I want to do in my life now.
I was finally able to find peace.
I had this limiting belief about my new identity. She was really difficult to become, right? And then I became her. Coming together and blasting through limiting beliefs, blasting through what do people think, and having a community of love and support, it's incredibly powerful.
And I definitely think her and I will be lifelong friends.
And this community really is a home for me. It's like a sisterhood.
Sisterhood.
UHPW supported me with breaking down the material in a way that was easy to digest, where I could, week after week, work on it with a group of women where I felt safe in that environment.
You are completely missing out if you do not go on this journey.
It's week 8 and we've done it! Woo! I just had to share this with y'all because I'm freaking out. I'm so excited.
This community has really helped me, like the identity training.
I have been in therapy for 20 years. And what I have untapped in the last 8 weeks is record-breaking.
UHPW is forever. I will never go back.
All of the nights in my room were lonely, and all that I wanted was sun shining on my face, birds singing out my name. Got rhythm in this soul, I'm kick drum on the beat. This world's so colorful like a purple tangerine. Can't bring me down, can't bring me down, no, not today. Can't bring me down, everything's going my way. Yeah, it feels too good, like a picture perfect day. So bright, so righteous, hug your mama, wanna say, praise the Lord, hallelujah, feel that electricity. So no matter what happens, I'm gonna be happy. Up here on top of the world, you see everything. Daytime, a color swirl, not like a diamond ring. I got feelings in these bones, they know a trick or two. So put down your little phone, I'm calling out to you. Can't bring me down, can't bring me down, no, not today. Can't bring me down, everything's going my way. Yeah, it feels too good, like a picture perfect day. So bright, so righteous, hug your mama, wanna say, praise the Lord, hallelujah, feel that electricity. So no matter what happens, I'm gonna be happy. Long as I got breath in my lungs, when the day is done, I'm gonna be happy. Long as I got breath in my lungs, when the day is done, I'm gonna be happy. Long as I got breath in my lungs, when the day is done, I'm gonna be happy. Long as I got breath in my lungs, I'm happy. Feels too good, like a picture perfect day. So bright, so righteous, hug your mama, wanna say, praise the Lord, hallelujah, feel that electricity. So no matter what happens, I'm gonna be happy. Long as I got breath in my lungs. stop beating like you used to. Used to be so numb, but now I'm next to you. You got me feeling some type of way. Was never alone, but always felt so lonely. Was surrounded by, but I was so lonely. But when I met you, my heart turned from stone to gold.